title is very funny. What's that? Are we live? Alrighty, hello everybody. I'm your wonderful host, Suki. No, hold on. Scratch that. That's the wrong script. Save that for later. Okay. Take two. Hello everybody. I'm your host, PattyHayesJr, and I'm joined by the other wonderful host, tsukinousagi104, who was kindly let out of his cage or jar. We'll get to the bottom of that soon. To join me here tonight, and can I just say how nice it is that we're here together? Uh, it feels like it's been a while since we've just been able to sit down and chat, you know? um, so I was thinking, did you want to boot up some Helldivers while we went through this? Like every time we have to reinforce, we'll ask each other a question.
I debated that at one point when you broached the idea of like you would be honored. I was like, what are the chances we just play a game like Talisman and just occasionally ask questions, like a 6 hour marathon?
I had the thought at like the 11th hour, like at 7 o'clock. It's like, oh, what if we played like a game of Talisman and every question was just a round between us? But I was like, no, I have to work eventually. It's like, I should probably go to sleep at a reasonable-ish hour. I'm quieter. Oh no.
It's because fun fact about using Streamlabs OBS is that for like a lot of the desktop audio, for people that I'm in a call with and the game share the same thing. So I have always turned down because games tend to be very loud.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So if I'm
There might
by
be a way
myself-
to separate that, but I'm not certain. I know Kronzer would probably be better at that than I.
Oh, there is ways to work around. I do it for like within the collab games, but the last few streams have been just me.
Just use solo. Yeah, no, I get that. Get that. Well, if you've turned me up, then without any further ado, the people are ravenous for questions to be answered, and I believe it's time to jump into the most important question asked by your adoring audience. Are you ready?
No.
Okay, we'll wait.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. First question asked by the wonderful audience. Are you mad at me?
No. I don't know why I would be mad at you. So fun thing about it, if you ever worry about what is Suki's anxiety at all times, is that I have this terrible thing of where I think everyone's angry or upset with me at all times. And so whenever someone like makes a joke or comment about me, I sometimes would take it way too personally and just go silent.
Okay. No, I understand that. I get that too sometimes. Often, all the time, really. It's like we're kindred spirits. Anyway, that question was asked by our wonderful Lori Talbot. I knew, like, as soon as I read it, it's like, that's the one that needs to kick us off. All right. Serious time. I got a lot of good questions from everybody, and most of these questions, I won't lie, like, I came up with like 5% of the questions. I stole like half the questions from other interviews that you've done, and then just everybody had such wonderful questions to ask. So I was just like, all right, that's it. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to prep. Uh, it was trying to get everything into a cohesive narrative. So I tried my best. Let's see. So, all right, first real question of the night. What are you drinking tonight?
So I have a few different things lined up. I was like, I need a celebration drink, and trying to find a drink that
That's
like,
right. It's 500. Congratulations.
Thank you. To pick like one thing out of my bar top, it was a close thing between glass of Booker's, but I settled with more of my roots. So I did because I haven't had it in a while, is a glass of Tullamore Dew. Though for the hydrates, I also have a Admiral Nelson spiced rum close hand, a bottle of Caravella, which is lemon liqueur, limoncello from Italy, and also some soju, strawberry flavored. And then, of course, if anyone does the redeems from a shot from the bar, that's right behind me as well.
Excellent. I will pretend that I know exactly what you just said. Yeah, I should know more, but I don't yet. But that's okay. Learning is part of the fun. So okay, follow-up question. You got work in the morning?
Technically, not in the morning. I have it tomorrow in the afternoon/evening.
Oh, best answer. One moment, please. Wait.
Did you accidentally
Sorry.
say something else for a moment?
I almost hit the first.
Oh. Oh, Lori did clean first.
Good for Lori. She deserves it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Depending how many you do is depending on what I'll grab
7,
to drink for the hydrate.
8. I was gonna do 10. So I had a note here. If you had to work in the morning, I was only gonna do 5. But I think Lori just helped with 10. So and Novell. All right, great. I think you're up to like 11 now.
Okay.
I'll give you a moment to satisfy that.
I was already starting to drink as I knew it was coming.
All right. I got water. I'll help you out.
So as soon as you were going to start hydrating, I'm like, it's going to be a lot. So I'll do the soda just because it's easier to drink, easier to quickly drink. I'm good.
All right, excellent. All right, so, right. I wrote myself a little note that says, that was a good question because that means we can delve into a bunch of others related to the topic. Mm-hmm. All right, so from our delightful novelle, she is not deep into Suki lore, but she would love to hear this. What is the origin story behind your love for high quality alcohol? Where did it start? What made you start collecting? And what are your absolute favorites to share?
So this is like a funny thing. You would think, oh, Suki has like a lot. You would think Suki's family is like that. Most of Suki's family, like including like uncles, cousins, a lot don't drink. I think of my 4 uncles, only 2 drink, and even my father, he will have, like Jameson told me, do occasionally during like a Christmas or Thanksgiving, but just is beer. It started with me and my brother, because me and my brother are both the types like, if we really want something, we're just gonna buy it. Like, and our tastes are very odd. Like one time, I remember he just messaged me one time I was home. And he's like, "Hey, you need to pick up my gift. Make sure no one else picks it up." And I'm like, "This is weird, odd. Okay." He's like, "You're allowed to open it," and I'm like, "This is even weirder." So I took it upstairs, and it was a kukuri.
Oh, okay. So your brother just collects knives and other sharp implements.
He has the one from my interesting story from my hand.
Right, you told me that. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so me and my brother always get our own thing. So at one time, I'm like, why don't we just get something each other, like a bottle or something? Because he wanted to get into bourbon, and I wanted to get into different tastes. Because my state is very weird, where it's like it used to be like Quaker laws up to a couple years ago. So I was like, we'll give something, and then from there it exploded because my aunt saw that I was collecting things, started getting me stuff. My father occasionally did it. So at one point, like from one Christmas, I had 3 different bottles: a bottle of rum from my brother, a bottle of whiskey from my aunt, and then a rare beer from my father. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I actually get into this? And I also like collecting because, like I always tell people, like all bourbons, scotch, whiskeys are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbon, scotch, because how they're made up, what goes into it, the process, how it tastes. So like it's very unique where you could have 3 brands from the same state and they all taste completely different and can be all differently made.
Yeah. You've explained this to me a couple times before, and I always think it's very fun and interesting. There, let's see. Okay, so that leads us to the next couple of questions here. The great one from Lori and follow up from Jesus. So, you know a lot about alcoholic drinks, of course, whiskey in particular. That you explained you actually read this one already. So what is one country or region that has great whiskey that is the most surprising? Because you wouldn't expect them to have such great whiskey.
Because so I hate this. There's a lot of bias, especially like from Europe, that America does not have great whiskey, but in my personal opinion has better whiskeys, and even just some bourbons are just much better than whiskeys as it is. Like people were shocked like a couple years ago. California wines were rated higher than from Italy and France from the committee that like does the world testings. Um, U.S. gets such a bad like reputation because they think like, oh, United States beer, and they think the light beers, they think the cheap whiskeys from America, but in reality, some of the best tasting stuff comes from this country.
All right. Yeah, no, I believe that. That sounds great. Um, and then Jesus' follow-up question is, what's the best and worst whiskey that you've ever tried?
The best would have to be, ooh, uh, Johnny Walker Blue Label. It is a Scotch, and the one reason I love it is that, so usually you kind of expect a certain taste from certain whiskeys, bourbons,
Mm-hmm.
vodkas, rums, tequila. This Scotch tasted like if you just breathed in a glass of smoke, but there was no burn. There was literally no burn to it. It went down smoothly, but your mouth and throat still felt like you just swallowed a bunch of smoke without actually irritating your mouth or throat. It was such
Mm-hmm.
a great taste. Expensive bottle though, it's like $200 a bottle, but so very
Yes.
very good.
When you came up to visit, I think we talked about this, and it was fascinating to talk about, but I didn't understand it personally.
The worst, and I got pranked with it, is called Curveball. Is a barbecue whiskey. It tastes like if you just drank a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's. It was one of the most disgusting things I ever tasted. I do not want to ever taste it again. Um, if not that, as much as I loved it, I now just really can't stand Crown. Crown is like
But
one of the purple things. Like, they get started in a whiskey. It's smooth, it's tasty, but it's so syrupy and so sugary that after a few glasses, you're getting sick. And the only thing good about it now is that the bottle looks really nice. It comes in a nice purple velvety bag, which I actually will tell people just buy, just so you can use the velvety bag for your dice. I've known so many people in my friend group that use the Crown Royal bag for their dice.
I just want to say, how dare you? Crown is one of my favorite people.
Crown is a great person. I just do not like Crown Royal whiskey too much anymore. But the velvety bag is just so great.
Excellent. All right. So now this one's my question. See, I have a question. First question in like 10 of them. Uh, of all the drinks you have drank in the world, what's the drinkiest drink that you have ever drank? In more layman's terms, what's your favorite drink right now?
Ooh. I go through kicks. If we're just talking like, not like a mixed drink or anything. Um, a couple weeks ago, I was really into ports, which are wines from Portugal. To give an idea, is like the full body taste of a red wine, but the sweetness of a white wine. And they're usually stored in like bourbon or cherry casks to give it like a more of a smoky taste. But recently, I've been really into limoncello, so like lemon liqueurs, I've been really into.
All right. All right. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I know lemon. I'm pretty familiar with lemon. Lemon jelly beans are my favorite. I
Really,
don't know if
lemon
that
jelly beans.
probably, yeah. And I know a little bit about port because of the uh, wonderful book that I think I gave you, but maybe not for
Mhm.
Christmas. I know I sent one to Krauser.
Mhm.
The world and the history of the world in six classes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, port was in there too for a bit, and I thought that was fun. All right. So we're gonna shift focus because I don't know much about alcohol,
Okay.
and so I'm trying my best here. But all right, we're gonna go to coffee and teas.
Okay.
Another wonderful question from Novelle. She's great. She's wonderful. She kicked off all of the questions. Like, she was the first one to ask, and then everyone immediately just poured in questions. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Somebody just needed to break that ice. So, Novelle, thank you. So it's on coffee. Where do you stand on percolation versus immersion in brewing coffee?
Ooh. Hmm. This is definitely one of the ones that.
This is more my wheelhouse now.
Yeah.
So
So
percolation is. Do you know which you know which one's which?
yes, yes.
Like, yeah, okay. Then I leave it to you.
So here's the thing. Um, and this is my experience, and this is one of the things I lament is that like a lot of the coffee places around me just suck.
Do they only do drip coffee?
A lot of them are drip coffee, but even the places that do immersion, it's not great. So I would say I've been so fascinated by immersion coffee because there's quite a few places in like especially like Cuban coffee uses uses the presses, and I would love to taste it, but there's like no place around me to do like immersion coffee good.
Yeah. You know who you should ask for a good recipe? It's Jesus. He sent me a recipe for Cafe de Olla. I don't have the pot for it, but you can put it in a normal pot and it comes out pretty well. But it uses a lot of brown sugar, cinnamon sticks. I think there's aniseed in there too, and you just boil it. And like once it gets to a boil, you just set it to a simmer, and then you can just kind of scoop it into your cup and drink it that way. Oh, it's so good, so good. For a time, that's all I drank. And I mean, so immersion, cleanup is always a bit of a pain, but it's still nice. All right, what's your opinion on cold brew coffee?
I actually probably drink more cold brew coffees than I drink hot coffees. Just a lot of times because I'm always on the go at work. And the thing about hot coffee is like if you hold it for too long, it will burn your hand.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't hold it right, and it'll spill easy. So I grab quite a few nitro cold brews.
Interesting.
At work because it's right there. Because we have a Starbucks right in my building. So I'll just be like, yep, give me one. And I'll leave it at my desk and I'll just go back to it every now and then.
Yep, makes sense to me. I tried nitro and I did not enjoy it.
You don't drink it for taste. That I'll definitely say.
That's fair. That's fair. I like a hot coffee. I'll drink hot coffee all year round, even in the summer. All right. All right. So I know the answer to this question, but I think the people want to know. What's the rabbit's favorite tea to drink?
Lemon fog. I'm actually really fond of milk teas. So a lemon fog, all it is Earl Grey tea and steamed milk.
Yep.
It's probably one of my favorite things to drink, and being introduced to it was a funny story.
Well, I think we all want to know what that story is.
There was a time where it was like about like the late 90s, and I bounced around for coffee and teas quite a bit because I'm like, I don't know the difference a lot of times.
I'm sorry. Hold on. You were drinking coffee in the late 90s?
No. I'm talking about like late 90s weather. I'm saying like the weather was in the late 90s. I'm just giving some background information first. And my coworker's like, hey,
Sorry,
I can pick something up for you. I'm like, sure. And I'm like, get me whatever. And she remembers like, oh, Suki loves lemon fogs. Because that was the one thing he had the last time we were out together. So she comes up to me, and it's like 98 outside, and I'm hot, I'm sweaty. She has a big round on her face and hands me the drink, and I looked at it, I looked at her, I looked back at her, I'm like, what's this? She's like, this is yours. And I'm like, you got me a lemon fog? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you got me a hot drink while it's hot out. And then like the gear slowly turned and then clicked, and she's like, "Oh, good intentions, not the right setup."
Love it. I love it.
So like lemon fog always sticks in my head because every time I go to order it, that like pops right back in my head. I'm like, "Oh yeah, remember the time where in 98-degree weather you're getting a lemon fog by your coworker?"
I like I've had anything similar happen. I would be the friend who would be like, "Oh yeah, here, have a hot have your hot coffee on this 80-degree day because that's how I drink it." So all right. A little more different than tea and coffee. I need the people need to know because I need to know whose side you're on. What is the quintessential birthday cake flavor? There is a right answer to this, so I need you to answer very wisely.
Strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake.
I will go down that as one of my two favorite foods.
Okay.
What's your favorite? It's my favorite dessert by a large margin. Strawberry shortcake.
Okay. It's fine. It's the wrong answer, but okay.
Though my family is a huge ice cream cake family.
All right, I'll accept it, I guess. Gosh, it was grind arguing with Ash for a while, and we settled it's funfetti is like the classic, like normal birthday cake. Strawberry shortcake is a good answer though. I didn't like strawberry shortcake for a long time, but I have come around to it. So another audience question.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus wants to know, what's your favorite ice cream and why is it Dippin' Dots?
So I did not have Dipping Dots until I was in my 20s. I did not come
Mm-hmm.
from a very wealthy family.
Yep.
So we always got
That-
like like
that's
people get
fine.
like
Me neither.
get like Rice Krispies and stuff like that. We got the store brand versions always. That to give you an idea. So Dippin' Dots were like a forbidden thing because it was a small thing for so much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I did not get to taste those into my late 20s. But
Mm-hmm.
I keep going back and forth between 2 or 3 flavors and
All right, hit me with them. What's your favorite?
cookies and creams,
Classic. I love it. Okay.
mint chocolate chip,
I'm less enthusiastic, but I'm glad you enjoy it.
and then Reese's cups.
Perfect. Yeah. All right.
Uh,
2 out of 3. Not too bad.
there's a brand around here that it's they have 2 versions. They have vanilla ice cream with just huge, and I'm talking like half, like the size of like half a Reese's cup, and there's another one where they have it's smaller bits, but it's peanut butter ice cream with the Reese's cups, and both are just so good. It's what I have in my freezer right now.
Of the Ashes has a question. What brand ice cream?
It depends on the flavor. Like
Mm-hmm.
Bayer's, I'll get for the Reese's cup
Sure.
and cookies and cream. Though shockingly so creamy and so smooth is Blue Bunny's vanilla. I don't know what they do to it, but the Blue Bunny vanilla ice cream
Okay.
is just so creamy and so smooth that I'm like, it feels like it was just freshly made.
Okay, I can dig that.
I will say, and this might put me on a lot of hate lists, is that Ben and Jerry's is overrated.
All right. What are your thoughts on Turkey Hill?
Turkey Hill, we don't get that a lot around here. I think only the Acme around here carries it. But so no opinion.
Okay, that's fair. I have Turkey Hill from where I'm at, but I don't. I also don't like. I don't care. You've been to the place that I get my ice cream from. Let's see here.
I only had that ice cream one time, and that was because you were about to eat spicy food.
Yeah, we needed that ice cream. That was a good time. Okay, so Lori demands to know if the moon was made of carrots, would you eat it?
No, why would you eat your home?
All right, follow-up question. As we all know, the moon is made of cheese. What kind of cheese is it?
Mochi. It's mochi, not cheese. Everyone should know that by now.
Listen, I watched a very special episode of Wallace and Gromit. I know it's made out of cheese.
I missed them so much. They were the masters of stop animation, and for the longest time I didn't realize it was stop animation until like I started realizing like Coraline and others were.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that you know what Wallace and Gromit is.
Oh, I love was it the Were Rabbit movie? So good, so good.
I didn't actually watch the Were Rabbit movie. I watched like they had 3 original like short shows. One of them there was a penguin who moved into their house. There was a robot dog for another one, and then they went to the moon in one. It was a good time.
I know the moon one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. I'm glad. All right. So. Okay. So those 2 questions were a good segue. I tried my best to get those good segues in there. You know.
Of course.
Yeah. I've always wanted a segue. I would do terribly on them, but
I feel that way with the hoverboards.
my little sister had one. We did not use it after my grandmother decided to ride on it and she broke her arm.
No.
She's fine, but it was great. Okay, so I know the person behind the rabbit. So it's never something I really think about. But I think it's important for me to ask. Also, because Jesus had a question that reminded me that this is something that I should probably ask. I'm going to read it exactly how he typed it because it's very funny. Why did the rabbit decided to go down from the moon? Is the moon no longer home? Why?
So there's a short version, or I should say the funny version, like the surface level lore. There is actually deep lore. That is a lot of it's hidden. There's a lot of secrets hidden throughout commands, and at times my statuses. But the lore I will admit is that the moon rabbit became so interested with humanity and just very much loves attention. And when it came down to Earth, realized the best way to get attention where everyone watches you is become a host. To answer the second part of that question, is the moon no longer home? That is part of the deep lore, and yes.
Excellent.
There is like a 10-page document I have of the true Suki lore. It is technically the longest backstory I've ever written for a character.
Oh, good. You should probably pull that up because. Also, one moment, please.
One moment. Un momento. Por favor. In the meantime, I'll watch my ears flop a bit. My Spanish is not that good. Sometimes, Lori, I will speak Spanish in a very bad way, knowingly, because I know Jesus will just hate it, and it's very fun. Is quite literally one of my favorite things to do. And while we wait for Patty, I will mention that yes, I think I've created about 50 commands that are all deep lore stuff. You have three. You know what? You have 4 hints. One has to do with actual stories and cultures that involve Moon Rabbit stories. Second hint is some of them are Alice in Wonderland related. Your third little hint is going to be only a few people will notice, but I've played a certain game that influenced quite a bit of my lore. And the fourth little hint I'll give you is that some of it is just going to be nonsensical words. Like, they might not involve with those 3, but that word individually will lead to more information.
What information?
Oh, I was explaining, I was giving them little hints on what the deep lore is.
Ah, yes, excellent. Kronzer will certainly figure that out, I'm certain. Mm-hmm. All right, so next question. This is fun. Tell us, what is the Suki lore? I call everything lore because it's funny, but what is the secret? What is the story?
So, I assume you mean making the character itself.
Yeah, a little bit.
So originally, because I made my own model, via Vroid, and up to about, I would say, a week into making the model, I was going to actually make a kitsune, named either Miles or Inari. I was like back and forth going through it, but Laffy hopped into the room, and I was like, why don't I do a bunny? After I've taken care of a bunny with siblings and my own bunny, I realized like, why don't I just make a character around a bunny? Because I know a lot about bunnies. I know their mannerisms. I know what they do. And also, I love the Moon Rabbit tale because it's one of the few things that from the east to the west in ancient times, from like the Aztecs to like Journey to the West, to China, to even some Native American tribes, they have stories on how a rabbit got to the moon. And I just like the idea that everyone just kind of looked up in the sky and was like, why is there a rabbit on the moon? And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I do a moon rabbit?
Why is there a rabbit on the moon?
My favorite version is that he was always up there. But a second close favorite is actually the story of the crane. And the Native American story is that a rabbit wanted to get onto the moon to ride it. And he asked a crane for help, and a crane stretched really, really tall. And that's why the legs are stretched. And the reason why they're red is because it caused some injuries, thus bleeding. And the rabbit was able to hop onto the moon. So I kind of like how they have explanation for two different animals, why the way they are in one story, and I love that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the oldest tale that is known is from China, that is the rabbit was always on the moon. And when Chane got up there, she was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, what are you doing here?
Yes. Okay. So I know a little bit about that lore, and so that's the reason why Chang'e is like one of my favorite gods in Smite. It's because she can just send the rabbit to go back to the fountain and buy things for you, one item at a time. Super fun. I don't play Smite often, but when I do.
I love the lines too, because I believe the rabbit says more lines than she does, and I just love that. Like you're playing as the character, but your little sidekick says more than you do.
I don't remember what the name of the rabbit is in that either.
I don't believe they give him a name, but I remember his voice being very distinct.
You know what? I know why. One of my friends gave it a name whenever he would send the rabbit back to the fountain. It was Cinnamon Bun.
Cinnamon Bun. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it never got a name, so that was just the name he gave it. Okay. So another community question comes from Karin Pon. She didn't ask it, but she has asked in the past, and I believe we all crave the answer. Your tsukinousagi104. What happened to the other 103?
So the 104 actually comes from one of my favorite games, and my favorite DS game is The World Ends With You, and one of the key buildings in that game is called the 104 building. So I added that like as a little tidbit. Only I think one or two people picked up right away where I'm like, oh yeah, it's from a game, and people are like, the 104 building, and I'm like, yep, it's actually based on a real building in Japan itself as well.
Okay.
But that's where the 104 came from. It's just I really love that game, and I wanted to give like a little nod or nudge somehow to it.
All right, 10-4, good buddy.
I'm surprised no one has said that yet.
I think it often. I just don't say it. All right, let's shift wildly now.
Okay.
Although not really, because you anyway, it doesn't matter. What are you playing these days?
Ooh, I put down my Switch because that was part of my Lent. But once I pick that up, it's going to be Unicorn Overlord. On my mobile, It is Fate Grand Order.
I mean, of course, that's like your shtick.
Yeah. Yep. PC. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Helldivers 2 recently because it's
so
what
fun,
Starship
right?
Troopers should have been.
It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pick up Starship Troopers.
It's not good.
The game.
It's not good.
Yeah, I heard that it's not super great. So I was like, all right, I'll hold off, see if it gets a better patch or anything like that. And I haven't heard anything since. So.
The only good thing about it, so the whole idea of Starship Troopers, the game, is that you go to like 3 different spots, either slightly defend it or like move a barrier to one spot. But the best part of it is that once you get to the end of the mission, it gives you a spot and you can build walls, turrets, stuff like that, and build a defense base in 5 minutes for when the bugs come. So I love that idea because like no end mission's the same as everyone else because you have like 3 different squads running around building their stuff to get ready. So I love that concept, but yeah, it was not a great game. It's not a great game.
Okay.
I play. Let me just click Steam real quick because I sometimes forget.
Steam real quick. Perfect. This question I lifted directly from podcast because I was like, this is a great question. I should just steal it for whatever I need it for.
From the last 2 weeks, I'm gonna rapid fire them. Lethal Company, Monster Prom Road Trip.
Sorry, you were playing Lethal Company 2 weeks ago? Like what?
Yeah. Amore.
Okay. Yeah.
Monster Hunter Rise.
Yep.
Stellaris.
Yep.
Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay.
Helldivers 2.
Yep.
Rogue Trader.
Oh yes, yeah, I know that.
And then it's not on Steam, but I've been playing a bit of. I won't give out the full thing because I don't know if Twitch allows it, but BS2. Some people know what that is, some don't. But those are what I've been playing recently. I hop around from games a lot. I'll be like, I'll play something seriously
fair.
For a day or two, and then I'll hop to a different game.
Which games have you been? Which game have you been enjoying the most?
It's either Helldivers 2 or Rogue Trader. This might be such a hot take, but I enjoy, and I think Rogue Trader is better than Baldur's Gate 3.
That's a hot take.
It is a hot take.
It's a hot take.
I like some of the characters in, like, I love Karlik, I love Will, but some of the characters like Asterion and such, it's not my taste. I don't like those kind of characters.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. Okay.
And I just like Rogue Trader. Like, the characters can be over the top because it is Warhammer, but the one things I enjoy is that the voice acting is just as good or better. And also, I love the concept that, like, because they're all from different branches of the Imperium, I had, like, characters like come up and be like, hey, can I kill that character? Like, the battle sister constantly asks if she can kill the Psyker on spot. The Inquisitor would be like, hey, can we get rid of that battle sister? She's too zealous and was going to lead us into a trap. Everyone hates the Eldar sniper because she's an alien. Like, they all want to kill each other, and it just kind of feels like the only thing that's keeping things together is you.
That's fair. That's valid. Yeah, I would imagine, I think that the Rogue Trader system is probably better suited for this sort of game than the Pathfinder games. It's just, I got a little burned on the Owlcat Pathfinder games.
Oh,
I won't lie. I don't think Pathfinder or 3.5 or anything like that are particularly great.
I agree. I love the concepts of Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteousness. It's just, in Kingmaker, the kingdom building is not that, like, they don't make it matter enough. And then the army building, at one point in Wrath of the Righteousness, you disappear for a year or such, and it's like, oh yeah, the queen marched her armies and lost them, so all that armies you spent the last part of the last two acts building are now gone. And it just, I stopped. I was like, I can't build another army. Weeks of building again just to see it gone.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research on the Reddit and some wikis and stuff, and it seems like they did the queen dirty in that game. Apparently, she's a lot more interesting and fun in the tabletop version, but in the tabletop version, the players aren't the ones leading the army. They're like a special forces team, which is, how they should be because it's D&D. But in order to do all the cool stuff, they're like, well, we have to make the player the general. So it's what it is. Okay. All right. All right. So, on the topic of games, we all know your greatest gaming achievement. But I want to know, what's your second greatest?
I can't go into too much. May actually witness it live. It is getting, I call it the, you know what? Beating Winter Bell.
Okay.
If she's here, she can understand. It took me 2 hours to do, I think it was like an 8-form boss battle.
Okay.
So,
what game is this?
BS2.
BS2, okay.
So to give an idea, so it has DLCs, and the third DLC is kind of like, oh, it's RPG Maker game. and you have like hundreds in stats, and that's like end game for the base game. You need like 10,000 in each stat for
Okay.
the third DLC, and each boss form had a different thing. Like, oh, hey, you can't use healing items this during this phase, or hey, you can't use magic spells, or like, hey, you can't use physical attacks, and so you were constantly switching up your gear or weapons, and it's 8 forms you have to go through. And if you die to one form, you have to start back at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And there's been times where like the boss can just stun lock you, and if you just have high health regeneration, you can just put your hands off the keyboard, and it's just 10 minutes of just trying to get out the stun lock. But you're healing too well to die.
Okay.
It was my second greatest achievement. It took hours and hours to do, and that was just me, like pretty much built for that boss fight, and still took me 2 hours to do.
Okay. Well, that certainly sounds like a time. All right. That doesn't sound like a boss fight I would enjoy.
But it took me to 3 a.m. I told me, I'm like, look, I'm not stopping till we beat it.
How many hours? 2, you said?
Yeah, yep.
Yep. Nice. All right. All right. Another question from the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus asks, when did you start playing D&D?
Technically middle school.
Middle school. All right.
It was
cool.
a single session. Pretty much a few of my buddies were like, hey, you want to try D&D? And I was like, sure, what's D&D? And we made up characters. We named ourselves as the characters. And we did a single session, and we never played again. And then it went years until after I graduated high school. And I was like, I have a bunch of free time now. What do I do? And I was like, you know what? I'm like, I always was interested in getting back into D&D, but never did. Because I knew no word that played. So I looked up Roll20, and I joined a 3rd edition that went into 3.5 halfway through.
Okay.
And that's when I started playing regularly.
Wild ride. All right. And then his second part of his question, and when did you find me, the Patty?
You were... So, there was actually a break after I finished with that campaign. Mm-hmm. I joined it like a few other things. I did a Dragon Ball Z based RPG. I did a Numenera RPG. I did a Fate system RPG. Not Fate like a Fate Grand Order, but like Fate the superhero one. I did so many other different ones like testing. I did even a Big Eye Small Mouth group, which is like anime style one. And then I was like, I'm gonna get back into whatever the new edition is,
these things.
Which was 5th edition. I applied to your campaign, and you thought I was not a real person.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I thought you were another player's husband. She mentioned that her husband played, and your application came in like literally like 2 hours later. So I was like, immediately I was like, what if this is her husband? And I accept her because and it's just like, well, now I feel like I should accept him. And then but then I read it. I was like, all right, this is actually pretty good. And I went to send the message, and I was like, wait a minute, there's something funky going on here. But it was fun. Let's see. Okay. Who is your favorite D&D character you've played in the past? It doesn't even have to be D&D. It can be another character as well from a different system.
3 characters come to mind.
All right, I'm ready. Rank them right now in front of everybody.
Rank them? See, I know what the number 1 spot. The 2 and 3 I can like interchange. Okay, I think I got him.
All right, I'm ready.
Number 3 was Inari/Miles. He was a kitsune. So the whole concept, there was like homebrew like backgrounds, stuff like that, and races. And I did a kitsune. His background was ancient, so he's been there since like the beginning of time. And his whole backstory, he was the trickster fox you always hear in like different stories. And his whole purpose was because it was a Horde of Dragons. So the whole lead up is to fighting Tiamat at the end. Was his whole purpose was to kill Tiamat, take the power for himself, and immediately plunge the balance of good and evil into chaos, so that chaos becomes the new norm. Thus, norm and chaos becomes interchangeable. So everything just becomes is. And so I just really loved that because the party, other than one character who was nudged by the guys, like, hey, you're a... Because he disguised himself as like a dumb farm boy cleric. And the party...
The best kind of cleric.
Oh, the party had no idea. They just thought he was a dumb kid and never questioned it because it's like, he's too dumb to be smart, right? Like we had we were told like, hey, there's a traitor among your ranks, and everyone's like, oh, it's not Miles. He's too dumb to be the traitor.
Little did they know.
Oh yeah, it was great. I was putting them against each other at times. It was great. I was just make it sound like I was asking questions so innocently or saying something innocently that was a secret, and it immediately turned two players against each other. It was great. It was lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 2, I enjoyed him quite a bit, but it amazes me how I think it's everyone else I played with favorite character is Flint Ashton. He's
Dude. He's the coolest.
Like, case in point, right? For those who don't know, he's a grave cleric. He's a protector ASMR, and his inspiration was actually the Undertaker from wrestling. And I was like, I would do different twists, but thank you for the hydrate. He was just like the personification of like death being a very neutral entity.
Yep.
But he was so great. He was so hard on himself. He was a drunk. He thought once he died, he's going straight to hell. Like he thought he was the biggest sinner. Like he was a great character.
Flint was amazing. Every other character in that game deserved a better game, but that's neither here nor there. But I loved Flint. I had everything that happened to him. He was like, he was the perfect character in many ways for the sort of angst that I put him through.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yep. All right. Flint is a solid 2. I appreciate it. I love it. Yes. All right.
Before I get to number 1, I do want to say an honorable mention because, like, someone who really opened my eyes of how a good character he is Onion.
Dang, I would have put Onion at top. I won't lie. In my list of favorite characters that you have ever played, Onion is my top. I won't lie.
I personally thought I was playing him bad, but then Roger one time sat me aside. He's like, look, he's the perfect zero to hero story.
He's fantastic. Everything that Onion does is just. I sit here every time. I'm like, sure, he gets a little frustrating sometimes, but it's like, but I sit here and I'm like, oh my god, he's just the great. He's so great. I love him.
I think it'd be sin not putting this character at number 1. I think you can guess it now. Is Solaris.
I mean, yeah, I do. Solaris was on those lists, had to be, but I mean, Solaris is also a wonderful character. Oh, you missed D&D Friday. The party learned that Solaris is somewhere in town.
That's great.
Currently hunting down one of the Sneak clones.
I can only imagine how a conversation between Solaris and Sneak would be about hunting one of his clones. Like he's like giving so many warnings. Like, I dealt with worse.
After they stop trying to kill each other, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna go great. But my goodness!
If anyone could kill that character, it'd be one of Roger's characters. He knows how to build characters.
Probably.
For people that don't know, Solaris is a wood elf. He's technically my go-to character for any time I join a new group, and I want to like feel out the party to see how murder hobo-y the players are or not. I use Solaris. He's a wood elf ranger. Usually goes beast conclave, so he usually has a companion. And he's the best way to put it is he is happy-go-lucky. He goes wherever the wind takes him. He often writes poems, humming a song. Just loves nature and life, and is probably his funniest little quirk is he's probably the most anti-government character I've ever played.
Anti what?
Government. Oh, if there's a kingdom, he will actively think about overthrowing it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's funny. It's a good time. Also, he got a griffin
Hmm.
in the last game that he played that I saw him in. So, well, I guess not saw him in the last game that you played him in.
Hmm.
He had a griffin. It was pretty cool.
I think one also it reminds me. I think still one of my favorite moments of player talking to player was Roger being shocked that I didn't want to become a noble, and you're like, yeah, Suki has a habit of playing anti-noble characters.
Yeah, and I respect that. I do.
But yeah, those are definitely my top three. Ian though is quickly growing on me. I always thought I played him badly, but then hearing how you and Roger talk about him has made me start realizing I am probably playing him right.
You are playing him right. I don't think that you visualize that you're playing him right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you and I, we had a conversation at one point, and I just left the conversation just. Maybe just like a little frustrated because it was just like how you were describing the character and how you were playing. I was like, no, Onion is great. Onion knows exactly what it is. I think you were playing is like, oh yeah, he's just so dumb, you know. And I'm like, no, no, I see what you're doing here. He's very smart. He knows exactly what's going on here. I can feel it. And it was just like I I knew where you were like where you're going with the character. I was just like, oh, I just need him to see where he's going with the character. Yeah, it's so good, so good. Like I said, I love Onion. Solaris is also top three. I never met Miles, so I can't speak to that character.
He
But
was
like,
he was for one campaign only,
did you
and
finish that campaign? Because I'm curious now.
yes,
How?
uh,
What are your thoughts on the Horde of the Dragon Queen, or was it Tyranny of Dragons?
we did both. We started with the
Fun.
first half and did the second half. He did things very differently because he tried to like twist things to how what our characters wanted.
Uh huh.
Um,
Okay, because
uh,
I've heard awful things about those games, those
it,
campaigns.
it ended with a very interesting TPK.
You know what? That's what happened to the last person I heard tell me
Uh,
about those
so
campaigns.
we killed Tiamat, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, we killed Tiamat and everything." And I'm the cleric, right? I'm the only holy person. It's a druid, fighter, and monk, right? I'm like, "Hey, I'm the holy person.
Okay.
I'll banish, I'll banish the goddess power away, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. You are the cleric. You can channel your holy powers." And I'm walking up to Tiamat's like body, and I'm like muttering a prayer. I say in air quotes to myself, and the monk who is a ASMR Scott's like, "Hey, you should probably stop that. Hey, you should probably stop that." And the monk's like, "No, I trust Inari. He might be a bit weird, but he's ancient. He knows how dangerous Tiamat is." And I took the power, and they're like, "Wait, what do you mean you took the power?" I'm like, "I took the power." And I turn around, I'm like, "I don't need you three anymore." And it became a 3-on-1 fight. Where they're
Did you
very
win?
wounded. Oh yeah, I was the healer. They had no healing left.
Oh no.
The players were both horrified and laughing at the end of it.
I love that.
It was a fun
I,
time for me.
that's good. Yes, yes. No. No, I love that. It's I've had one uh, I shouldn't say. I've had a couple of games where the party has turned on each other in ways similar to that. And,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the two times that I'm immediately thinking of, it worked really well, and it messed up the party, but in a really good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did not trust each other for the rest of the campaign, but like so, wizard fireballs and kills the paladin, for
Oh.
his evil god. Um, comes back. The paladin somehow comes back to life. It was like very touch and go, where their soul was gonna go like after they died. Um, it's like four different holy entities had claims to it, so they were sitting in limbo for a while, and then they finally revived her. Um, and they went to battle, or she went out. And she's like, I'm gonna kill that wizard. And that wizard immediately fled. But they found him, and he apologized, and they used Zone of Truth, and he was a servant of Vecna. So I was like, well, Vecna's gonna give you the power of glibness, which is an 8th level spell. They were like 5th level at this time. So he gave him the 8th level spell, and he was just like, I was like, you can lie through this 2nd level spell, easy, no problem. And that worked really well. No, they did not trust each other for the rest of the game. Player wise, character wise, they were very iffy. They hated each other. It was great. There was a long running debate on whether or not the wizard actually killed the paladin, because the paladin came back to life.
There was only one time in one of your campaigns I came close to killing a player character.
Oh?
There was a time period, just because the way they talked about people, and it's like, hey, if the money's right, I'll betray you. There was a time where Slurus was possibly going to duel Conrad.
Who the heck is Conrad?
Was that his name? The Blood Hunter person.
Lorcan.
Yes. I get their names.
Yes. Who is Conrad? Now that you...
I think I know. I mixed him up with another character.
Okay.
That was very similar.
That's
fine,
that's fine.
Lorcan,
yeah.
I was like, there was a time where I'm like, am I? Because it was before the fort, and he kept talking about he would betray the group if the money was right. I'm like thinking to myself, like, because I built Solaris in a way like I can make a single arrow do a lot of damage. And I was like, what if I just shoot him at the back once the battle's done?
Yeah, you probably could have taken him out. All right, to be fair, several times in that game where he said something, and I was like, well, that was really off-putting. And I'm the DM.
And then recently I almost came close to killing a player character. It was in a different campaign.
It was me, I know.
No,
I tried hard.
It was a Curse of Strahd campaign, and I was playing Pidge, who is a wizard. To give you an idea, she's a bookworm. She's the straight character in the group, in the sense. Hold on.
You're playing another Curse of Strahd game without me?
What
is this?
It's an in-person group, technically.
You play with people This is ridiculous.
You saw me on stream.
Have I?
Yeah, it's that group. Years ago, but now we're playing again.
Oh,
in person.
Oh, okay. Wait, you're still playing?
We decided to get things back together by playing Curse of Strahd recently.
With everybody?
Yep, but we don't stream it.
Oh, I respect that.
We're like, hey, our friendship got kind of fractured. The best way to build it together is D&D.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for you. Okay. I'm sorry. I derailed this entire discussion. I just sorry. Just so much information.
But I'm playing Pitch, who's a wizard. She's a bookworm. She's the straight character in the group because we have a half vampire. We have an undead cleric. We have a blood hunter lycan. We have a druid who's split into 4 different bodies. I'm just a bookworm student. Like at one point the cleric is just like because I was pointing. Pretty much I did like a sense undead type of spell, and I was like I found out our cleric was undead, and I was like oh my god, you're undead, and he came up to me, he's like, if you reveal to the group, I will kill you. I went, huh. Dimension door. And he fell for the dimension door outside, and before he hit the ground I cast Featherfall, and I was like, try it again. Next time I'm dropping you on the ravine.
Next time, I'm just gonna put you 500 feet up and hope for the best.
Oh yeah, we were like right next to Castle Ravenloft. I'm like, I'll drop you in that ravine.
Oh, that's a deep ravine. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
He's like, you know what? I thought I could bully you, and I'm like, you could. Buy no 8th level spells.
Yes, you could, but I'm 8th level now, so oh, that's good. I love that. Okay. The only times you've ever TPK'd, or not TPK'd, you almost killed another player character. I love that.
I try not to. Like, Flint, I was like, you know what? Instead of killing a player character, I'm going to remove him from the group.
That's fair.
I just don't like killing player characters.
I don't blame you. As a DM, I love it. I got a box full of torn up character sheets around here somewhere. Ugh. Like to bathe in the tears of the blood. No, I'm joking. I used to be a very combative DM. I like to think that I've gotten better over the course of the years, but even like when we first started, I was a little combative, and I get that. All right, all right. What's the next one? Okay. If you were to have an ideal D&D game, what sort of campaign would it be?
I love big city games. I love being in that one city, making different kind of relationships with characters, politics. I that like Dragon Heist when that came out, that was my campaign. Like I probably read that book from cover to end at least a dozen times. I love the idea.
I'm with you.
I just love the idea of being in this one city, doing these different jobs, doing these different jobs will help this faction or not help this faction. They will like you a bit more, they'll like you a bit less. It felt like everything mattered what you did. Where in other campaigns like Horde of Dragons, it only did like a total tally at the end of like, hey, did this city blow up or not? Did this war win or not? Where in that campaign, like Dragon Heist, everything mattered what you did, politics, role play, and I love that. It actually felt like the NPCs mattered as much as the player characters.
Yeah, you could actually see your actions kind of moving and shaking because you all live in this centralized area. Yeah. Dragon Heist was the first module I ever ran. I mean, I
Really?
modified it heavily, but like it was the first premised campaign that I ever ran.
I can't remember what it's called. The first I ever ran was something Red Hand.
Red Handed Doom?
Red Handed Doom. I love that one. That is probably my second. Yep.
Classic adventure. I was gonna run it for you guys, and then you guys all told me that you played it before, and I was like, God dang it.
I actually use a lot of Red Hand for Zenaria.
Interesting.
A lot of plot points, a lot of encounters, a lot of things from it. I use that. To me, that's like the perfect way to run. Like, hey, a war is coming to your doorstep. You have this much time to prep. All these different quests. You don't know what they're going to do. They help you or not. How much time they take. It actually felt like you were that elite squad. Sent to do these missions.
You know what? This is a good thing that you mentioned this because next question is: are you running anything fun right now?
I am running a homebrew campaign called the 13 Hangmen. The pretty much basis it's a country that was recently in the past 20 years, which is recent for most races other than humans, even probably humans as well.
I mean, 20 years ago was like 9/11. Like it's still we're still feeling the after effects of that. So yeah, I feel you.
Lich ran for a millennium unopposed, making this huge giant country, got overthrown. His top lieutenants are back now and are trying to bring the Lich back to life and send him to godhood. It's a few different acts. One is introducing the 13 Hangmen. The second act is dealing with them. The third act is hey, the Hangmen now strike back. You're reeling backwards as you try to find your footing again. Fourth act is the war, and the fifth act is the final boss fight. I've ran it before, but it never finished because I ran it for an in-person group, and we got towards the fourth act, and then we dropped it to do a live stream campaign. Yeah. And it just never got picked up again because it was like years later, and everyone's like, I don't remember.
What a campaign it was.
And then one I've been thinking about doing recently is kind of like a Twisted Wonderland campaign with some Eldritch spice to it.
That's fun.
Where I'm actually thinking about inviting a few people, host included.
Me.
The whole concept is right, I guess I'll suppose
pitch it to the chat right now. Let's go.
A Eldritch being, because like the old ones, they do sometimes focus on humanity and influence it. Discovered the Grim Tales novels and fell in love with it because most of the Grim Tales has a shocking twist or a horrible twist. It's nothing ends happy, and it's Eldritch beings like, this is wonderful. You give me these in-depth characters, a twist where someone at least dies, and went, oh, this is beautiful. Let me bring this to life. And made its own pocket dimension of these stories brought to life. And then once the story so-called ends, resets it back to the beginning and runs it again. But like, hey, what if this character is the main character? Like, or what if this is the twist? Or what if this is the enemy? And the player characters are all beings that were once the main character, and escaped or got tossed away and realized, hey, we need to either escape this world, overthrow the Eldritch Being, get another Eldritch Being involved, because if it gets to the end, our memory gets wiped, and we're never going to have a chance again probably to escape. Yes, right. that was a proto version of Sakusan.
Okay, I gotcha. Yes, I did watch that. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. It's very horror-esque. It's very twisted, Wonderland-esque. I also take some inspiration from Dark Souls, where if you do die as the party, you do come back. But you lose quite a, you lose everything you used in that battle.
Okay. Interesting.
So there is a bit of freedom, like, because some of the boss fights are going to be hard off the bat.
I've seen that done in some ways. Yeah. Okay. I've got a couple things I could probably send your way, and you might get a kick out of them. So. Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. I like it. Yes. Zanari has been a lot of fun. So I knew I needed to ask, because I was like, it's a cool thing that you've been doing, and I think that you should talk about it. All right. I will move on from the gaming questions after this last one. Okay. Jesus wants to know if you like him, even after playing Talisman together.
I do. For the longest time after playing Talisman, I thought Jesus didn't like me, because that game he talked a lot directly to you and not me, and I was like, oh, he probably doesn't like me.
That's not true. I think is just because we know each other very well that I find often that happens. He's just nervous to new people and all that good stuff. So it's not you. I promise. He likes you. All right. So now we come to my favorite segment, the Miyasaku Power Hour.
Oh my.
She presented me with a grand list of questions, and I'd be remiss not to ask them.
Okay.
So now I must. Also, because the last question of her little list will segue excellently into the next topic.
Oh.
All right. So, what is the most ordinary seeming thing that you find fascinating?
The sky. I think we take sometimes granted what the sunset, sunrise, and such are, like the different colors it can be, the clouds in the sky that can influence it. That was one of my favorite things whenever I had to take a train, and I always try to get the window seat so I can just look out at the sky.
Interesting. Okay. No, I like that. That's a good answer. All right, next one. What is the most trivial thing about which you have a strong opinion?
I feel like there's two separate. I feel like you'd say I can say liquor because I have so many different takes about it. The other thing is a lot of underground games like ARGs, games that are not translated that you have to machine translate that from Japan, because there's a huge underground community for gaming in Japan.
Okay.
So everyone knows of course Helldivers 2, but people might not know certain ARGs or certain games. That's Not My Neighbor is I think one of the biggest ones to pop up. A lot of the big horror games that YouTubers or streamers do at one point were a Jolt Jam game, for example.
Okay. All right. What is a childhood habit or preference that you'll never outgrow?
I would never stop twirling my hair. I do it all the time. I'll play with my hair constantly.
It is true. All right. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
Probably. I get a lot of compliments on my eyes. Like a lot of first means people compliment my eyes because they're a very nice blue that changes colors a lot. Different shades.
Chat, I've seen them. They are fantastic.
The other thing is probably getting compliments about Espresso Hour. Like, I hear stuff like Val said it recently, like that the Espresso Hour was one of her favorite collabs that she ever did.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things that you have done ever. I always loved seeing them, for a time once a week or once every other week.
I accidentally made the mistake where I have like 4 different collabs going on at the same time. I'm like,
Yep,
I don't have time.
No, I know it. Time is the enemy of us all.
I do have ideas who at least the next 3 are going to be.
Oh, that's good. That's exciting.
The one will be interesting.
I was gonna say, can we get a sneak peek? For 500.
Moo is one of them.
Excellent.
It's the next one is going to be. These are not in order, by the way. I'm trying to figure out how to best do it.
Sure.
As well as best days for it. It's very going to be hard to do, but it's David.
Oh, I think we can make something work. We could probably even have him be live here. He did it in such a way with his brother once. It's just a program that you have to download, or maybe even just use your browser for. I believe in you. I think we can make it happen.
I think so, and I kind of want to possibly take that gaming idea of maybe even dragging you into it, and the 3 of us are playing Lethal Company as we tumble through questions. Just because I know, like, David has such great energy, especially when he's playing something while talking. I think that would make any nervousness go away.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
The third one is Von World.
I do like Vaughn. She is pretty cool, so I love that. Ashes, we love David. We do love David. I think all three of those people that you mentioned, I have a very good affinity for. So I will be looking to that in the future.
And then eventually, I want to do is go through all the ones that are associated that I met via Folly. So I definitely want to do at one point just do like in a row, like Fluffy, Cloud, Natu, Karwoo.
Has Cloud not done, or not Cloud? I'm sorry. Has Natu not been on this yet?
Not yet.
Oh, that's exciting. I knew Cloud and Fluffy hadn't. For some reason, I could have sworn that Natu had. Interesting.
I want to flavor into a casting couch type of thing, so I'm trying to do like a background of it. I thought it'd be very interesting to do, just like a little nudge what he does.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. I dig that. That's cool. Well, I will be very excited and ready to watch all of them. Like I said, it's one of my favorite things that you do. All right. You have the opportunity to give a 10-minute speech, which will be broadcast worldwide and understood by everybody. What do you speak about?
Why Fate Zero is the perfect anime.
Dear Lord, help us now. I'm joking. I hear you got a PowerPoint. I think I would like to see that PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, I have a Fate Zero PowerPoint. It has one of my favorite anti-heroes, just plain and simple.
Okay.
I have a Fate Grand Order PowerPoint about how to make different builds.
I'm less interested in that one just because I'm never going to play Fate Grand Order. But your Fate Zero one, I would watch that PowerPoint. You've heard the speech.
Yeah. I can probably go in how all the fates tie in together and why they don't follow the rules from the very first one.
Okay. As long as we don't bring that cat into this, I think I'm okay.
Which cat?
The cat. The cat I loathe.
I don't know.
I won't even speak its name because I don't remember it. It's been so long since you guys have talked about this cat that I've forgotten. And I am happy for it.
Taiga?
No. It's the creepy cat.
Foo? Do you really not like Foo? The squirrel thing? Like, I'm thinking, like, what is the cat you don't like? I'm like, there's tomato no make, there's tomato
cat. It's the one that's not entirely canon.
Oh, Nico Art.
Yeah, that's one.
Technically, Nico Art's not even based off a fake character.
Well, there you go then.
They're based off Tsukihime, which is another visual novel that group makes.
Fun. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I had to think for a moment.
I don't like the cat. I just you get for a while there was like all you guys would reference to each other and like, no, I hate this thing.
Oh, I hate it. That's Groundhog's spirit animal.
Yeah. All right. Has a piece of media, book, film, play, song, etc., ever changed the way you thought about the world?
Yes. I can think of a song, and I can think of a book at least.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate? You don't have to.
I think Lost in the Flood by Bruce Springsteen really opened my eyes, just because the lyrics are all about like a Vietnam veteran coming back from home and just being like dead-eyed. One is a racer who the only thrill they can get is by racing top speed. Another one is about a cop shootout with a gang, and it's just like people. The whole concept is just people are just lost in the flood of life, having no purpose.
Okay.
And like
I think that
listening to that song as a middle school student, it kind of made me realize like, oh, people are struggling out there. The book is it's actually my favorite book. It's House of Leaves, and it made me look at like literature very differently, because it's a very complicated like storyline. Pretty much the whole storyline is the main character lives in an apartment building. One of the recent neighbors died, who was a blind man, and he's going through the stuff, and he finds that the man like dedicated his life to making like reviews, interviews, and stuff about this movie, about how a family, and it goes from different viewpoints of like the person writing the reviews, that main character, and the people in the movie. And the whole movie is that this family moved into a new house, and they find in like one of the closets is a staircase that leads into this like huge maze underground. And how the inside of the house is bigger than the outside of the house. And as the character reads more and more of this stuff, he can't find anything that proves this thing ever existed other than what this blind man wrote. So he's like, is this real? Is this not real? And the more he read, the more he slowly started to go insane. And he actually at one point like tapes his room out to make sure everything, the measurements match. And it is just like you can see his slow descent into madness, because you get to some pages and there's only like one or two words on it. The words are done in like a circle. Some words are coded, like color coded, and you can like in real time see this man's descent into madness. And it was just a really great book. I love it so much.
All right. Yeah, no, I haven't read this book, but I've heard you recommend it to other people. Mm-hmm. So
I describe it as perfectly as it's a love letter to literature. And I actually know quite a few people that reviewed it and almost call it weirdly a romance novel, because it is like that love letter to literature. You can feel the love the writer put into the book.
All right, I dig it. All right, so we're gonna move into some other community questions that will fit this theme.
Okay.
All right, this is a softball. What's your favorite Cartoon Network cartoon from the 90s and possibly early 2000s?
Oh, it's Ed and Eddie.
Of course. Was there another answer? I don't.
Like, the only thing that could come close in my mind is Codename Kids Next Door. But like,
okay.
Ed and Eddie.
I like Codename Kids Next Door.
Ed and Eddie was just like,
yeah,
it was just fun. It's fun. It has one of the best openings.
Yeah.
And honestly, the movie just did a nice like bow to everything.
Did you watch the season where they went to school?
Yeah, I actually did. I actually liked that.
Okay, yeah, I remember it being a weird thing that like it came out after like several years of not having new episodes.
Yeah, and I just loved the movie because it made a nice little bow to everything and tied up every question.
I don't know if I've watched the movie.
The whole movie is the guys did something so messed up, and they run away to Eddie's brother. And it's pretty much the group chasing them, and the three trying to find the brother. And when they actually meet the brother, they learn that, hey, his brother's not a good guy. And just straight up, like, bullies him physically. And even the other cul-de-sac kids are like, You know what? We kind of pity Eddie now, and see why he's like this.
I think I have seen this movie actually. And all right, cool. All right. This one comes from the wonderful Peacock. What books do you read, if any, and why?
I read quite a lot actually. My bookshelf is, actually you know itself. I actually when I was last up there, I picked up a book from the 1800s, the late 1800s.
That
A
is
book
true.
a book about poems. I read. I would classify into four different things. I read a lot of manga, um, especially when
I'm
it comes.
shocked. I say.
Um, Not counting the stuff that's finished, but it's ongoing chapters and such, weekly. I have 370 watch listed.
That's a lot.
Um, Second thing is actually I read a lot of poetry. I have that book from the late 1800s. I even have a book my brother wrote. Um,
I'm sorry. Hold on. Your brother wrote a book?
he wrote a book of poetry. I even back when he was in college.
Um, you're gonna have to message me about that later.
Okay.
I've never met your brother, but I'm interested.
The third thing, I read a lot of history stuff. Like I have, like I can see from here, I have a book of like the history of Marvel, anything from NASCAR to weaponry, um, history of Calvin Hobbes comics, Ghibli Studio, movies. Like I love reading the history and background of certain things that go into things. And the fourth thing is a lot of fancy novels. I have like 10 books of Pathfinder, first edition. I have a few books from D&D. I have a few Dragonlance novels. I have almost all the Salvatore novels. I have it up to when it's the Artemis, Entry, and Jaraxel trilogy.
That's funny. Okay.
Um, and a bunch of Stephen King as well. But
All right. Yeah. No, that's a solid spread. I like it.
Mhm.
All right. Do you also listen to audiobooks?
no. Yes and no. I'm a huge Warhammer fan, and it's hard to get a lot of the books. Um, and it's actually easier to get some of the audiobooks more than the books. So if it's a Warhammer book I know I can't get anywhere near me, I'll get the audiobook. The only things I listen to would be podcasts, like D&D podcasts. Like I,
Okay. Do you have any particular favorites?
this is gonna be such I think a hot take. I prefer the Adventure Zone over Critical Role.
From what I've heard, that's not such a hot take at the moment.
Um, I love Critical Role, but the one thing I think about Critical Role, it gives people an unrealistic view of how D&D can be. Where I think the Adventure Zone does a perfect idea of like, well, they're family, but a perfect idea of few friends that know each other playing D&D.
Sure. Yeah. Uh, yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I remember the Critical Role effect. I was a victim of the Critical Role.
I was a
effect
victim of
little
it
bit.
too, and that's why I can recognize it.
Yep. So.
And there's certain characters that I like. I think Taco is a much better character than a few of the Critical Role characters, and that's the weird thing to say.
So I don't know the Adventure Zone very much. I know some of the characters' names and stuff like that, but no. Um, have you listened to any of the D20 stuff or watched it?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you a fan?
I like it.
Okay.
I just think of the ones. If I had to pick one of the D&D ones, it's the Venture Zone.
Okay. No, all right. I respect
D20 though, they're what is it? I will always go back to anything that Brennan is a part of, like his whole.
Did you watch Misfits and Magic?
Yes, I'm trying to think of the quote. It's the whole thing about reaching a hand down to someone is, you to reach a hand down to someone you have to pity them. Like whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, such a great villain.
Oh, so good.
And his
Yeah.
vampire one where he did a priest, and the one vampire
Oh, no.
player character was like, um, It's like, you killed one of my friends, and he's like, your friends are monsters, and she's like, you're a monster as well. He's like, I know, and I know I'm going to hell when I die, but I'm gonna take as many as I can with me. And I'm like, holy shit.
Hey, that you just described Flint Ashton. I didn't know you were
Yeah,
in that show.
but he's just a great character, great player.
Yeah, I love Brendan Lee Mulligan. I think he's wonderful, and the D20 shows, because they're such compact little adventures, they can do some crazy stuff in them, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So his portrayal of Evan Kelp was a good time.
Or one of my favorites is the whole was it you got 2 minutes to make a decision about stepping out of the match or not? It was one of the
Yeah,
magic school
it's
ones.
him. That's Evan Kelp.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't step out of this, I have one question for you. Yes. What do you want me to tell your family? I was like, what? That's amazing.
And for people that don't know, while he's giving this speech and questions, he's mimicking in person, like he's taking off his jacket, folding into a bundle, putting it aside, and I'm like,
rolling up his sleeves. It's just, it's so good. Oh, gosh, yes, he's just so good at everything he does. Okay. All right. Okay. So, which do you enjoy more? Physically reading or listening to an audiobook? Or both?
physically reading, but I am also guilty that I will put something, if I know it's going to be an hour or two long, in the background to listen to as I'm gaming.
Okay. No, nothing wrong with that. I've done that too. When I drive, I like to listen to a podcast or something. I finally finished the podcast I was on because it's an hour and a half long, and my commute was a half hour, and I listened to it on my way home, so it took me 3 days, but I finally finished it, and it was I had a good time. All right. If you had to take a book with you onto a desert island, what would it be and why?
At first, I was going to say A House of Leaves, but seeing that's a descent into madness, that'd probably be the worst thing to take. Cub Scout Handbook.
All right. I can respect that.
Like, if I know I'm going to be on a desert island, might as well know stuff that can keep me alive.
Absolutely. All right. Those are good questions about media. All right. We're gonna move on to a couple personal questions.
Okay.
You may not answer these, and that's okay. You don't have to. Jesus wants to know about the car accident.
What about it?
Well, if you're up to telling the story of what happened, I can go through his 2 questions here.
Okay.
Let's see. For some reason, I didn't actually copy these over, so I just need to pop in here and. Jesus says, "I want to ask, how did the car accident happen? And how do you avoid a car moving towards you, almost no injured?" Sometimes I just love the way he talks when he's excited.
So the car accident happened when I was coming home from work. This was during a time when we were like open to like midnight, so this was past midnight, close to 1 a.m. And I liked walking home from work because it's good exercise. I'm in the mindset if once you stop moving, you die quicker. And that might be a bit morbid, but I always live by that, so it keeps me moving at all times, hiking and such. But
so I've driven you to work from your house, right? Where did this happen?
The intersection with the Wendy's and Walgreens.
All right.
Ironically enough, the most well lit part of my walk home.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
So I was walking home from work, and I was about partway in the crosswalk, about to the halfway point, and the car was coming the opposite way, and they had the turn signal on, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jog the rest of the way across, so they don't have to wait. You know, it's close to 1 a.m. They probably want to get home. I want to get home, right? I get it. And as I'm living my like 2 jog, they speed through the turn and hit me, and I didn't realize until much later. I did a thing where, so stunt doubles, how they do the getting hit by a car thing and rolling across is they lift one leg up, so
Yeah.
like your
Yeah.
body
Okay.
bends into it and rolls across.
Yep, that makes sense. It's the leg next to the car, right? Lift that
Yes.
up, and yeah, so you'll just kind of all the weight will topple back onto the hood. Okay.
I didn't realize I was getting hit until it happened.
Uh huh.
Um, I rode across the hood, destroying the hood, the windshield,
Sure.
and taking out the left mirror. Fun
Well, that's
fact:
their
the
own
car
fault.
was totaled.
Their car's totaled.
Um, there was even a funner fact, which I'll get to in a minute. How I was survived with injuries was I did break all the cartridges in my leg, so I
Okay.
didn't break a bone, but I had to ice it for weeks and to get it drained. I wore over-the-ear headphones, and this is one of the reasons why I prefer over-ear headphones over buds. Is I had over-ear headphones. I land on the side of my head on the cement and hit the headphone side.
Uh huh.
So my ears rang like hell, but it's probably saved me a concussion.
That. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. It basically functions as a miniature helmet. All right.
Um, the funny thing was because I was in, my first reaction to the thing. This might surprise people. My first reaction to pain is get mad. So I was furious, and I said probably every curse under that was ever existed to that car that pulled aside. Um, and I was tired. Adrenaline's going, so I didn't realize I was hurt, and I limped off the road, and I called my father, and I was like, told him everything. They pulled up. The driver of their car um, called their parent. Both my father knew that father. Funner fact: that driver's older sister was the best man to my cousin's wedding.
This is amazing.
So the reason I didn't get injured was because lucky I did everything I was supposed to in that incident without realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how the car accident happened, and the best thing was actually the settlement because we had technically the same car insurance. Um, the car insurance is like, hey, look, if you don't sue, we'll pay your hospital bills and give you a settlement. I'm like, wait, you're gonna pay my hospital bills and give me money?
And that sounds great to
Sure.
me.
And I was going to be. That's how I bought my Switch. Was like, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna use part of the settlement, but buy my Switch. I'm gonna be on the couch for 4 weeks anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
The funniest thing has happened like a week before Christmas.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. 4 weeks before Christmas?
Oh, less than a week. It happened on December 19th.
Yeah, but like, oh man. So you missed the Christmas, like, not, I shouldn't say the rush, but like, probably, I don't know how it is for you guys, but like, that week before Christmas is the worst for us because that's when everybody's like panic shopping.
Yeah, we get a lot of that.
Yeah. Ah.
The funniest thing I think was at the hospital was I never had a CAT scan done or anything like that. But they go to do the X-ray for my leg. The machine starts up, falls apart, like stops working. So they roll in a second X-ray machine. I go in for my CAT scan. They put me in, and they leave the room, and I'm laying there because they tell you not to move. And
Yeah.
and it's dark, completely dark. And I'm thinking to myself like, oh, in the movies and shows they have a bunch of light so people can see what's going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They come back in, they forgot to turn it on. That's why there was no light. And I was like, look, you're gonna have to get me out of here and help me limp across the room because I'm not gonna be able to stand still now for at least another 2-3 minutes. I was pissed. The pain didn't start, and like I didn't realize what was happening until I was put into a wheelchair at the hospital.
Wow. All right.
Well, I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that the hospital sometimes I went to. It's the hospital I always go to. There's always something wrong that happens to me when I'm there. Even my latest trip, something happened there.
Latest trip. Oh right. I was like, wait a minute. Latest trip. I know what the latest trip was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It took hours for them to do an MRI scan, and I'm just laying there like, come on, can we do this now? I was actually even more interested in what was happening next to me because there was two cops waiting outside the room of the one next to me. I'm like, oh, something's going on in there.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Oh, I found out later it was someone who was on horse tranquilizer and they found asleep, standing up, and they're like, we're gonna bring you into the hospital.
Okay, yeah.
But I was like more interested in that half the time. I was like nudging my father every now and then, like, hey, any new details?
Hey, go ask. Hey. All right. It sounds like you had an eventful day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Lori asks, would you get a piercing or a tattoo? If so, what?
Piercings, no. I just don't understand the concept of piercings, really.
Sure.
I guess I know why. I came off piercings due to wrestling.
That makes sense, yeah.
So wrestling, you can get cauliflower pretty easily.
I've seen it. It's weird.
It's even easier to tear if there's holes in your ear. So I never would do piercings, but tattoos there's one or two I know I would get.
All right.
One tattoo I would get is a cross on my back with the family name across the horizontal bar, and then the crown off the top of it as like a little nudge to the name I always went by for years online.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the second tattoo is I think I would actually like to get like Shiru's command seals on the back of my hand.
Okay. All right. That answered the follow-up question from Jesus.
What's that?
And where?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just like the concept of, we always hear we have our, cross to bear. So, crossing upon your back, you're, bearing that. And you're always like bearing your family name. I always thought that was very poetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought just getting the command seals, because like, as much as I like to rant about, like, fate has made up a large portion of my life.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's like how D&D has made up a large portion of my life. Some would say too large. Anyway. All right. Excellent. We're in the home stretch now.
Oh, really?
Sort of. All right. So these questions are going to be a little more familiar. And I'm probably just going to end up rapid firing them because I'm sure you've thought of the answers already from the many times you've asked them. All right. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
This is going to sound so silly. The idea of perfect happiness is just like a married family life.
Interesting. All right. Simple, quaint. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm a hopeless romantic, and finally getting that romance like sealed away just is happy to me.
You hopeless romantic? I don't believe it. It's not like I've known you for years.
The question is, do you know how many years now it's been?
Absolutely I do. I'm actually shocked that you think that I wouldn't know how many years it has been.
Are you gonna
don't even say, ask if I'm going to that Roll20 page to check and see where the thing is, because that's absolutely not what I'm doing right now. Oh, nope, not me. That would be so silly, and I'm not trying to fill time here. 6 years? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the previous the first campaign ended in 2019, and that was like at least a year long.
What? I've only known Jesus for 7 years?
Only 7.
What is happening? I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, oh man, we started playing in like 2014, right? It's been 10 years now. No.
It clicked during my birthday stream when Ace was there. It was like, oh god, I've known Ace for more than a decade now.
Oh.
I met him via Skype when that was the only way to talk to people.
Friggin' Skype. Oh wow. All right. No, all right. So yeah. A lot of fun memories with Skype, and then we moved on to Uvu.
I did Google Hangouts for a bit.
I never did Google Hangouts. I dropped off the face of the earth for a bit, and then I got Discord, and I was like, all right, Discord it is for the rest of time.
Yep.
I will die on this app. Yeah, I got Discord in 2016. That was my first online D&D game, actually. It's somewhere in June of 2016.
I've been...
Cool.
Yeah, 2016, yeah. I think you guys were the reason I got it. Half the reason. I think I got it, like, downloaded, and I didn't use it, really, until, like, I joined a D&D campaign.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I could tell stories about that first ill-fated D&D game. All right. Next one. I'm sure... I know what one answer could be, but I'm sure it's not the right answer. Anyway, what's your greatest fear? And be aware, somebody in chat is taking notes for reasons, I'm sure. Although she probably knows it.
2, kind of 1. It's spiders and death.
Okay.
The kind of 1, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm afraid of it, but I'm more aware of it. Is when I'm up high. Like I can go up heights really easy. You saw me walk up the fire tower, no problem.
I did, yeah.
But once I'm
as soon as you look down.
Yeah, once I'm up there, I'm aware. Like, hey, don't be stupid. Suki, you're a risk taker. Don't do it.
Be stupid. Don't hang from the balcony, calling down to us.
I did that.
I know you did.
I wanted to sit on the railing too, but I was like, that's stupid.
All right. What is a trait you most deplore in yourself?
Probably that overthinking what people think of me.
Okay.
I've had so many sleepless nights where I end a call and that person hates me and spend too many hours that night thinking about it, where I can be like, dude, you're okay. Go to bed. Or at worst, like, hey, if they really don't like you, you don't have to talk to them again.
Yeah.
Recently, I started, like, purging a lot of servers or people that I'm like, I don't talk to this person. I'm like, I really shouldn't talk to this person anymore. I went from like 50 plus Discord servers to like 20 now.
Oh my goodness. It's probably for the best. Yeah. Miss Stream says, reminder that we love you.
I will say, and if she is here, hell, that's what's one of the reasons I became such good friends with Ollie. Was I was in the Discord server, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable here and I don't feel like I have any friends. And we bonded over the fact that like we didn't feel comfortable there. And she was the reason I met quite a few different VTubers that I call friends now.
Okay. Interesting. All right. What's a trait you most deplore in others? Also, before you answer that question, say something nice about yourself now.
Say something nice about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I am blessed to have you as a friend.
Well, all right. I guess lies work. Okay. The trait you most deplore.
Deplore in others?
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Honestly, people that are just rude to people. Working in retail, I always call it the...
Oh my God. Yeah.
I always call it the church rush. Because I know, I would leave mass to
I'm familiar with the church rush.
Go to a restaurant or go to a retail and just see the people that have been told, be nice to your neighbors, then be absolutely horrid to them.
We had a customer come in and it was one of the only times I was like severely angry at work. They made one of the waitresses cry, and I was very close to going out there and maybe losing my job, but I was like, I really need this job.
I get it.
It was bad. But we pulled through, and they actually got banned from the restaurant. So
it's one of the reasons I love bringing in Latinx people, because we'll get like occasionally a rude one, and then likes to flex that they were at church and such, and then I would just drop the Latin and seeing them just blank, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't know how to speak Latin? I guess you must not be a true churchgoer then.
You're not a true Christian.
Yeah, it's won me quite a few points, and a few times where they complain to my manager, and my manager pulls me aside. It's like, technically, I have no clue what you said because I don't speak it.
That's so funny. All right. Which living person do you most admire?
My father.
All right.
You think I have stories? That man has over 6,000 stitches in his body.
From some of the stories I've heard of your father, I don't doubt that.
God. He amazes me how someone can keep calm under pressure or stress or injury.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that man have a picture of his hand literally hanging on by a thread from his wrist from a chainsaw, and he called the hospital and was like, "You want me to drive up, or do you think you'll get here in time?" The man is...
What was the answer? I got to know.
He drove up himself, I think.
All right. Yeah, I respect that.
But
All
he's
right.
the person I respect most.
All right. What is your greatest extravagance?
My collection.
I think I've seen part of that collection.
There's an updated picture now. I'll send it to you via DM.
I would love to see it.
I took a picture of it today.
Oh, okay. Are you sending it now?
I'm grabbing it.
The next question. Okay. I will be patient. Kranzer says, "What a legend." Agreed.
Oh, that's like maybe his third worst injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like the man is quite. And that's that kind of stuff that's currently in front of me.
Oh, this collection. All right. Yeah.
My liquor collection is quite extensive.
I like that. I like that poster that you have in the back there.
That's not even mine. That's just my brother's. I'm just gonna leave it. The most expensive bottle I ever had was $200. The current that's on that shelf is $120.
Oh my goodness.
I have bourbon bottles, whiskey bottles, vodka, tequila, soju, sake. Like I have a little bit of everything. It's extravagance because if you like total it all up, it's well over $1,000.
Sure. Yeah, that's a perfectly legitimate extravagance. And to think, I was mere inches away from being able to see it. Alas. All right. What is your current state of mind?
Relieved. We had a family member in the hospital and they came back today, so like very relieved.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
Oh God.
This is my favorite question. The Valdez Fox.
The Valdez Fox question. Yep. Mm-hmm. I love that question so
What
much.
does that mean? Oh, okay. Never mind. I know what that question is. I know what it means now. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. I use All's Fair in Love and War quite a lot.
Okay.
I use what the fuck in different tones.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known this about you.
Especially at work. Work Suki is a whole different person.
Yeah, Work Pat is also a different person.
I probably use bollocks quite a lot.
Or shite.
Bollocks or shite a lot.
Bollocks. Okay.
For some reason, I don't get in trouble as much for using those at work, so
I can only imagine why. All right.
The other one's probably Dimi Dobone.
Okay.
Do you know what that means?
I don't.
Oh, okay. It means listen, Lord, in Latin.
Can you say it one more time?
Dire Domine.
Divi Domine. Okay. I don't think. I think I would have gotten there with Domine. Maybe not DV, but yeah. Okay. I got you.
So I because I'm trying to learn multiple languages, I tend to use like phrases like korewa. I use that quite a bit.
I don't know that one either.
Sorewa and korewa is just that is or this is.
Okay.
Just give my mind the hindsight to just use the language more often. in casual conversation.
Okay. No, I respect that.
Probably interesting as well. And then
Interesting. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I hear it. I hear it.
I do quote quite a few movies quite often.
I mean, who doesn't from time to time?
Like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Um, I'll do my best, like, not seductive tone, but like, play it again. Play as time goes by. And then I use a weird voice sometimes. I do it to Melissa a lot because we do the voice back to each other a lot.
Okay.
Which is okay now.
Okay. Oh yeah.
We do it all. Yeah. Oh yeah. We just do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
Whenever when Lane, who has been our DM quite a few times, asks us to roll dice, we'll just do that to each other. Especially he's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to roll a d20, or like I need you to roll a perception
just
check.
take the cows out to the pasture, y'all.
So we'll do that a lot. Frustrates him sometimes, but I don't know where it started, but we do that a lot.
All right. Who or what is yeah? What or who? That's I feel you should change this question for the next. Anyway, who or what is the greatest love of your life? It's time. Profess it now.
Mm-hmm. Half me for a moment was like, do I just do the funny thing and just say Laphicet?
I mean, it's Cream Puff. We know. It's okay.
I will throw hands with Cream Puff, but it is Sakusan streams.
Or as Crowns says, Sakusan schemes.
Oh yeah, she be scheming. But yeah, Sakusan streams. Also known as Meisaku, also known as the Supreme Overlord Wooloo, also known as Grandma.
Grandma Maya. Yeah,
Grandma
I've heard
Maya.
that one before.
Also another name that I know personally, but no one else knows, but I can't say it.
Yep, that's good. All right. When and where were you happiest? Oh, that's a fun question.
You know what? I'll be right back 1 second, and that'll give me time to think.
Okay, all right. Well, I will entertain. All right, team. Let's be real. Oh, very cute. How am I doing so far? I think I'm holding up, but we've got like a dozen, 2 dozen, a score of questions. Yeah, good times. But what's happening? Everybody doing everybody doing all right? Hanging out. Let's see who's on. I'm top tier interview. I'm just trying my best here. Oh look. Oh, okay. Anybody got any fun weekend plans going on? I'm very excited. I have one more day of work, then a day off. So that's where we're at right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do on Friday.
What are you doing on Friday?
Sure, I have something. I don't know. Oh, I'm playing a game with Gallon. I don't know what yet. He hasn't picked, but I gotta go bully him later about it.
You should make him play a horror game.
Well,
he's a scaredy cat.
I was thinking Project Zomboid. I told him I was like, all right, we're gonna play Project Zomboid or Deep Rock Galactic. You need to pick.
That's the problem. You let him pick.
No. Okay, so I know, but that's part of the fun is because he finds it. He doesn't like. He doesn't like choosing.
I know. I've seen his his what's it called? His Omegaverse results.
I don't know what that is.
Don't.
What?
I said don't learn about it. Be in the dark. But
okay.
it's something I tease him about every now and then.
Okay, yeah, because he can't decide. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I love and appreciate it, but I took my firm stance. I was like, listen, I'm giving you 2 options. Pick one.
So. It's definitely a satyr trait of they can't choose.
It's fair. All right. When and where were you most happiest?
A few moments come to mind. One where it was bellyache laughter for me, but I'll completely make myself fun of myself here.
Okay.
So there was a time period of romance lore we're gonna get here, where
Oh, all right.
both me and the my LOVLOML, just abbreviate it real quick.
Your Lommel.
Yeah, Lamo. Uh, we're like, hey, why don't we take things slow? Learn things about each other, so and so. And at one point, she was like, yeah, I think I'm ready. To go official. For some reason, did not like compute in my head. A few weeks go by. I'm like, yeah, I'm like that. We're still in this phase of learning each other. And she's like, Suki, I said I was ready. And once like things started to click in my head, and she brought up like the proof of it, I had like the biggest bellyache laughter.
I think I knew this story.
You
All
do.
right. I do. Yeah.
Um,
You're saying, I was like, wait, you told me this one before. And I thought that was very funny.
as weird as it sounds, doing that eight phase boss fight, and just for the first time, like I did it the second time with Maya, and I was even knowing what to go through, but the first time doing it and just putting it down, hell, it became my Discord stats for well over a year.
Okay.
The
Okay.
ending H,
Wish
but at
that
what
was what.
cost?
Is that what that meant?
Yeah, yeah. That
Oh.
if without giving too much, who knows? Maybe I'll end up telling you guys what the game is without pushing. But pretty much what happens is you get to the end of the
Wait,
game.
why won't you tell us what the game is?
So this is going to be a bit of a tangent. So
Oh, no. Okay, I'm ready.
I think it's an 18 plus game.
Oh, okay.
And people look at the 18 plus content and immediately will accuse people of stuff. But even
Yeah,
though
they'll balk on it. Yeah, I
yeah,
get you.
but immediately the first question they ask you, when the first question is asked you, is like, "Do you want to play with this stuff on?" And you can choose no. And
Yeah,
Sakusan
that's
can
fair.
attest to you don't see anything, ever. But just because of the content in the game and because it is from Japan, so Japan has um, uh, certain views on certain topics different from
Yep.
America. Um, People are going to look at it differently. But
All right. Well, we don't have to talk about it. It's okay.
um,
I'll message you privately about it because I'm curious. But
uh,
that's neither here nor
but
there.
the game broke me emotionally. Like,
All right.
even though it's weird, it's like happiness, but like finally doing it, and it was just felt like a really really good story. Finishing it like bittersweet, and pretty much the ending scene that you see like CG as the credits roll is you
Mhm.
and the character that like helps you throughout the game. Um, she passed away, and you're like sitting there like slumped over. Um, and I'm like, that's how I felt at the end of it. Like I felt both happy and hopeless at the same time.
Okay. All right. Where am I on my list here? I should have separated them better. Which talent would you most like to have?
Drawing, I
I feel you on that one.
my
But
hands shake way too much.
oh, okay.
Due to I think it's nerve damage from a when I got stabbed in the hand,
Sure.
and it just I can't draw a straight line.
So you put the pencil in your teeth and try. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. I feel you on that one. I do. I should find my tablet and give it another go, but it's been a while. All right. This moment might be telling. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? I'm watching you.
Uh, a part of, I think I'm stuck on two things.
Mhm.
One would be probably appearance. There's certain parts of my appearance I don't like. Um, like I don't like myself barefaced. It's one of the reasons why I grow a beard. Is just I feel it frames my head much better than not. Um,
I feel that entirely. So I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I also I'm just saying so you can grow a fantastic beard. So like
The
go
second
on.
thing, the second thing would probably be definitely be just I always feel a little bit stressed. At least I would love just not to be able to like have that at all.
Okay, I understand.
It's one of the reasons I love collabs because like the stress just melts away, and like those 3 hours or 2 hours, I can be just perfectly calm and happy.
Okay, okay. How are you feeling right now? You stressing out? I got to answer questions about yourself.
I said earlier I feel relieved.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, you said you were relieved about something else though, so you know,
Well, it carried on into this.
excellent. All right, all right. That's great. Yeah. Okay, I can understand both. Those are good answers. Uh, what do you consider to be your greatest achievement?
Uh, Probably want to. Ooh, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think others would say the 500 on Twitch, or
Okay.
taking gold medals in wrestling, like taking gold in the regional.
Okay. Well, I'm not asking other people.
Uh, I think personally would be uh, becoming pretty well versed in Japanese reading, writing, this speaking, because so many things that involve like Japanese culture, like would be a manga or games, I can enjoy without localization errors and can just enjoy it how it is.
You mean you don't want to watch the Pokemon crew eat donuts that are jelly filled and
Well,
not like rice balls?
well, no, there have been times like some even famous animes have been like almost like pulled off American Airways because of the localization. Like
Hmm.
I know a famous one was like Dragon Maid almost got pulled completely. They actually got threatened for how they were doing localization, and they're like, that's not how.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I can enjoy how it is, and some things just don't translate well from Japanese to English, and like
Oh, that's fair.
if I can just be able to sidestep that and just enjoy it directly, I think I would enjoy things quite a bit more.
Yeah, it's a neat thing to be able to do. All right. If you were to die and come back as a person, place, or thing, what would it be?
A place.
I added place
Okay.
now because person, place, or thing is just in my mind.
I feel like I have a silly answer and also a
Okay,
serious answer.
I'll take both.
The silly answer is the worm from Stellaris.
What was will be. What will be
My,
was.
one of my favorite quest lines in all of Stellaris. Just so great, so great. I remember
Praise the worm.
I was quoting that before you ever found it, and I remember when you first started talking about it, I was like, "Yep, he knows now."
I don't know. I found it in a multiplayer game, and oh my goodness, I wish we finished that game. But it was just amazing.
So fun. I would love to come back as a dragon.
Okay, dragons is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I have interesting takes about dragons when it comes to like fantasy worlds.
I also have takes about dragons in fantasy
Mm-hmm.
worlds, so
It's one of the reasons
I have
why I
no fear.
enjoy Onion quite a bit is because he can see both how humans view things and how dragons view things,
Hmm.
and
There's a
can
fun little disconnect somewhere in there.
I mean just purposely and and unpurposely have disconnect with people.
Yep, that's part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where would you most like to live?
Mm. Ha! You know what? I got three answers for you. One is going to make you laugh. I know that
All right,
probably.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Uh, Dublin, I would love.
Okay, that's a fantastic. It's fantastic. Yep.
Shibuya.
So one more time.
Shibuya.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Japan. Uh,
Yep.
Third answer, Hoosick Falls.
I don't know where that is. I'm sorry.
No, okay, no. Let's try Saratoga Springs.
Saratoga. Oh, I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
I hear there's a racetrack there.
Yeah, I actually want to. I actually want to see if there's a race happening because I just want to see how different that town is.
It's very lively.
Because when we saw it, even when there was not races going on, it was still very busy.
Yep. Yeah. When did we came up? You came up during
The week trip.
autumn season. Did
Yep.
you make it for Columbus? I don't know exactly. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, but I know track season starts whenever the Kentucky Derby happens and lasts all through the summer. So it's a good time.
That's why I want to see what it's
I,
like.
I mean,
just
I
out of
imagine.
curiosity.
I've never been. I always have to work it, and it always gets very busy.
One day.
One day. One day. What is your most treasured possession?
Ooh. There's.
Good one. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Pat. I'm gonna pat myself on the back now.
You know what? I'm not gonna do the obvious thing. I'll do one of my oldest. I'll do my oldest collection.
All right.
Dragon statues.
Oh, okay.
I've been collecting dragon statues since elementary school and went through about up to high school. It is probably the oldest possessions I still own that made it through more than one move.
Okay.
Close things behind it is my PC because I'm able to do all this now.
Yeah.
People remember the days of the gaming laptop. I couldn't stream a lot of things.
I remember the days of the gaming laptop. Yeah, you could stream some things, but not the cool stuff.
I don't want to say Lafayette because I feel like he's more than a possession.
No, I understand.
And I got 2 Fox plushes I really enjoy.
Oh, good. All right. What is your favorite occupation?
Localization.
Is that something you do as a hobby?
Yes, I've actually done a few projects where I translate games for people.
I like that. That's pretty cool. All right. Oh, that's really neat. I didn't know that you did that, actually.
It was like one of the main reasons I wanted to learn Japanese was, hey, I could use this, actually.
You could, yeah. All right. What is your most marked characteristic?
Should I be asking you people?
That's a good question.
I
I know what the answer is, probably.
You know,
if I had to answer this question for you, I think I know what it would be.
You know what? Tell me your answer. I want to see if it matches what I think.
It's your mischievous personality.
I think close to that. I get type. I have gotten voice acting work, and 9 times out of 10, it's the younger brother character.
Interesting.
Hell, when I give people like my actual a few pieces of artwork of Suki, I'm like, oh, draw something in your style. 60% of the time, they draw a Shota character, and it drives me insane sometimes.
I almost said I don't know what that is, but I remember I did Google it once.
It's just a young boy character.
Yeah.
But I think that usually comes to mind as Suki is that I tend to get character work of a younger brother character.
Interesting. Okay. The young mischievous lad, yes. All right. What do you most value in your friends?
Their friendship.
All right.
Like, I love that I can, end work Monday. I'm gonna go into like Amori with Crownzer and like hop into Lethal Company with David and a bunch of others afterwards, and then depending on the time, like have a date night watching something. Like, it's makes my day, makes my week, month usually.
You've just described a lot of energy that I would have to expend. I love that about you. The fact that you get excited by all that. I would do it, and I would probably be excited, but
Yeah,
like, oh, that sounds exhausting.
that's one of the things I always find very interesting is that the two groups that that follow me, one of them is a lot of extroverts follow me, and oh no, not extrovert, introverts follow me, and it always baffles me like, are you sure this is the content you're looking for?
Yes, 100%.
The other group is very interesting as well,
Okay.
which is YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers follow me on Twitter or Twitch, and I'm like, excuse me, is this the content you're looking for?
Who are your favorite writers? Oh, you can tell that the whoever got these questions. I'm not gonna accuse you of anything, but did you find these questions from a source somewhere?
I've gone through multiple sources.
Okay, these ones specifically are from like somebody who's like British, I think. 'Cause they use the favorite with the U.
You don't use that?
And it's what's that?
You don't use that sometimes?
I don't know.
Curious, how do you spell gray?
It depends.
Okay.
Usually Gray, unless I'm describing clothing, and then I use Gray.
Really?
I can't tell you why I do it in my brain.
See,
But that's why I do it.
I'm reversed. If I'm using a name for
Interesting.
someone, I use AY.
A name for someone?
Yeah. Because I usually think,
Oh.
because people name Gray, I think American, so I use the AY.
Interesting. Okay. I would never. I guess if I no it. Like if I had to come up with a name for a character and I were to use Gray, I would use EY. But I have also seen other people use AY, so it would really just depend on things. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Okay.
What our brains do.
It is really. Favorite writers.
Favorite writers.
I'm a huge fan of King. For a while, some of his books were like my favorite books to read.
Okay, I've read a fair few of Stephen King novels, probably his more popular stuff, but
I
still.
even read a lot of his books that were by his other pen name.
Oh, okay.
He actually used another pen name for some books, like the book with the Regulators, to see if he wrote a book similar to his style, but not his name. Would it sell just as well?
Mm-hmm.
I forget what the term. Excuse me. When you write underneath a different name, you know what I'm
I'm
talking
not sure.
about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, he just used the pen name and stuff.
Yeah. I enjoy a lot of King.
Pseudonym, yes.
Pseudonym,
okay. That's what
yes.
I was thinking of, but I wasn't sure.
I do, as much as I have a love-hate relationship, especially with his latest books, R.A. Salvatore. Read a lot of Salvatore.
That's fair.
As weird as it might sound, I think he writes better villains than he does heroes. I just think Jaraxo, Artemis, even the Matron Mothers are just better written characters than Dritz.
Okay. Yeah, and we still get their points of views, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so part of my I think I can pinpoint where the issue kind of starts. And I would guess that it probably starts right after he finishes the Underdark trilogy.
Yes.
Because Drizzt has already had his arc.
Mm-hmm.
Where does he go from here?
As much weird as it sounds, I was more invested in Wolfgar's arc than Dritz.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel that, and also Drizzt can't be this morally gray character because he's already got that stigma attached to him, just for being a drow. So yeah, no, I can totally see where you're coming from here. And I won't like I liked all of the I liked his arc from Crystal Shard all the way to the Ruby Pendant.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. So the first trilogy, great stuff. I thought Drizzt was cool, and I don't know. I find affinity for that sort of character in general. But like, yeah, no, I and then the the prequel trilogy where we see him get to the point where he was at, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, but like, I think R.A. Salvatore also got saddled with all of the weird Ed Greenwood baggage, coming from the Drow. So,
Yep.
it's not his fault. Yeah.
If
Sorry, R.A. Salvatore. Yes.
If I had to pick
Interesting person.
one more writer, I'll pick two.
Okay.
I really love the mangaka of Iruma-kun. It's the only manga I will actually read the raws of because I'm just so invested in that series. It's a manga. The whole concept is the main character. He's pretty much like a yes man. You ask him to do something, he'll do it. Something dangerous, he'll do it. And the reason he did it was because his parents spends all the money all the time and makes him work to get money.
Okay.
Gets adopted by the Demon King, attends a demon school.
Okay.
As his grandson. And it comes off as just like a comedy, but actually goes into action, building relationships with characters, and like not everyone's like a love interest or like there's like pervertness to it like a lot of animes might do. Everything just feels very wholesome and heartfelt.
Okay.
And this style, like May can attest, the stuff I stand like some of the artwork, especially with the way they do the eyes and expressions, are just so very detailed and have so much like emotion and thought into them.
Okay.
The fourth one is, you know what? I'm gonna come out and say the game that I've been like talking about, Black Souls. The creator Toro, and I never knew someone could mix grim fairy tales, eldritch beings, make a storyline out of, especially the second game, which goes like full on like Bloodborne mixed with Dark Souls mixed with eldritch beings mixed with grim fairy tales, and had me so invested in a storyline.
Okay. All right. I'm starting to see where the future campaign inspiration might be coming from.
Oh, it's absolutely from that.
All right. All right. So we are at favorite writers. So who? Oh, go. Oh,
I was gonna say, and fun fact, they're a VTuber as well.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Maybe more people are VTubers than we would think. Bum, bum, bum.
I found out by accident.
I had a fun idea of doing just being a VTuber for April Fool's Day, but I don't think I'm going to be able to stream that day. But it was gonna be funny. Continue, please.
I found out by accident just because one day I was just like looking at like the VTuber tag, and I saw this person. I'm like, wow, the style of their character looks very familiar, because if you've seen the if you remember that one shot I did, their character is that same style as the big monster. So I was like, oh wow, that looks very familiar. And they're talking, and they mention the next stream they're gonna go through the game and like point out stuff that like people usually miss or stuff. And I went, wait, how do they know this stuff? And then like it started clicking, like, oh, they made this game.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. That's cool. All right. All right. Who's your favorite hero of fiction?
I feel like I have to do like a top 5.
All right, that's fine.
I can't pick
top
one.
Top 5 is valid.
I'm
ready for 5. Are you gonna rank them or just kind of give me a list?
Just give you. I'll try to rank them.
All right. This is fun.
Let's do number 5. Let's do Vash the Stampede.
Okay.
Don't know Trigun?
You did not hear me typing.
Okay.
I have not watched Trigun. No.
You would love. Do you know the concept of Trigun?
This dude has a gun that's with 3 barrels.
Patty?
He's a bounty hunter, I believe.
No. Let me paint this for you. He's the most wanted man on the planet. Everyone's hunting for him. But the thing is, he won't kill or wounded people. He will actually shoot his gun to shoot a sign to drop on someone to trip him up. he'll like shoot like a potted plant, so like fall on their head and like knock them out briefly. Like he does his best possible to not hurt people. It's a comedy action, but like there was one episode where he's running through town as the whole town's trying to shoot at him, and he's just shooting up the town in a way where it just trips them up or makes them tired. And it's just a great thing where he commits to it so hard, even though there's so many times where he can't, and he's just such a great character.
All right.
And there's times where he'll use his like reputation. Like there was a ship being holed up, and he just sings a song like about like how he's gonna slaughter everyone to scare them, because he knows like, oh my god, they know, like, hey, they know I'm the most wanted man on this planet. If I paint that up, this image in this moment, they'll be too scared to do anything.
Okay. It had Trigun has been on my list for a little bit.
I think generally you would like it.
There's a lot going on.
4, I'll say Iruma.
Okay.
He's just a really good character. He is the most demon human while being a good person. Number 3, a character you're probably familiar with, is Caiaphas Cain, the hero of the Imperium.
Oh gosh, yes. It's Caiaphas? I've
Caiaphas.
always heard it.
Yeah.
I pronounce it in my head Caiaphas.
Oh, that's fine. I know it's the last name's Cain.
Yeah, I know Cain. That one's, I mean, Cain is a good name.
I just love him. For people who don't know, pretty much he's the hero of the Imperium. He has this reputation of being this hero, but he's a perfectly fake it till you make it. But the problem is that he gets sent on these dangerous missions because people believe, oh, he's going to easily solve this problem. And he's like, yes, totally. And he's trying to find a way to get out of the mission or job every time. But he will never admit he's actually a hero, because he'll be like, well, to keep my reputation intact, I have to do this mission, because if I back out, they'll know that's all fake. And there'll be times where like a planet's being sieged by aliens, and they're like a demon portal opens up, and he'll be like, oh, I have to go close that portal because I have to keep my reputation in stock, and no one else knows about the portal. So even if he left, no one would know about it. But he always like saddles up to do the danger, even though he acts like he's doing it for his own reputation. It's a great character.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now we're getting to 2 and 1.
Yep. The tough ones. Pick your favorite child.
This might be a bit harder, but it's Gerard from Dragonlance.
Okay.
That might shock people, but his story is very interesting. He came from like a somewhat noble family. He's a guard for this tomb of a hero, which is supposed to be considered sacred duty, but he thinks it's a bit ridiculous. It's the hero who's the Kender. I can't think of his name at the top of my head. Tasselhoff, I think it is. Tasselhoff. And he finds it ridiculous. He's guarding a Kender grave, and he's just a very dour, sour person. But Tasselhoff ends up coming back, and they team up to do good. And he's just a very interesting character, because you can see as he grows, going from, I hate this job, I'm supposed to be a hero, I'm supposed to be a soldier out on the front lines, to being like, hey, this is my duty, I'm going to see it to the end. I hear a long pause from Patty. I worry.
It's because I muted myself. I said Dragonlance Classic. Classic, I love it. Okay, I'm ready. And now it's time for your favorite child. Can I get a drum roll, please?
This is going to be so fucking embarrassing.
Oh,
he inspired
go on.
So many characters and so many ideas, but it's Miles Tails Prower.
Miles Tails Prower. From Sonic?
Yes. Sonic 2 was one of my favorite games growing up. I had so much Sonic stuff, like...
There's nothing wrong with that.
I took Miles from that. I took Prower from that. I used those names in every campaign that I DM, or even used them as character names. But yeah, Tails.
All right.
It's what grew
respect
to
it.
my love for foxes.
There's not, foxes can't fly, right? Using their tails.
Until it's been proven not, I won't believe it.
All right, okay, that's fine. I'll just make sure.
And
Nothing wrong with your answer.
And I do have an honorable mention, but they're not
Okay,
a
I'm ready.
hero. They're an anti-hero, but it's Kirei Kitsuruga, the main character from Fate Zero.
Okay. Very good. All right. Potentially controversial question. Are you ready?
Go on.
Which historical figure do you most identify with?
Oh God, it's Teddy Roosevelt by far. Like,
No, that's a good answer.
Like the only reason we have our forests and national parks is because he is the reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Okay, yes, Teddy Roosevelt. Yes. Okay, the man who was on all four corners of the political spectrum at the same damn time.
yeah. Like I always love when I see stuff because I watch politics a lot. I love when I see one group use him and like, oh, he's all in our political camp. I'm like, he is, but he's also not.
Okay, that's a good answer. All right, I respect it.
If not, it'd be just because at the time it's very interesting. It's Caesar.
Now, I've been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Kaiser.
Okay.
Kaiser.
But I always found Julius Caesar very interesting because like he took land from the nobles and gave it to the people. He was beloved by the people. When the assassination happened, like, we just freed the Republic. I'm like, no, you just made the Republic hate you greatly.
It's a good time. The complexity of the people that are in complexity people.
Mm-hmm. I think a quote that was described was he's first of the people, last of the Republicans.
Okay.
But I always found like his thing very interesting, just especially leading up to the assassination and then the downfall of the empire after he was gone. There's not really too many other historical people.
That's it. Pinning that forever. That's the best fun fact I've ever read.
I guess because of fate, but also because it's some of the things are just ridiculous and like Miyamoto Musashi.
Okay. Like the actual one, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. There's so many times where he will not show up on time to fights or anything, to frustrate his opponent. Like there's one time where
that makes sense.
He said a place and a time, and when the person showed up, he attacked him from behind because he's like, "Yo, in battle, everything's fair. It's like this is a battle, man. This is to the death. Like, do what you gotta do to win." And like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's just, I loved it. And he's one of the few like people that are like, because like like every country like builds up these myths of people, and we don't know if they're real or not. And there's so much about Musashi written and such that we know he existed. So we know he's the famous swordsman that exists in Japan, where some of the others, like Sasaki Kojiro, it's kind of in the air if he existed. Some of the others, like Ishuin, we don't know if the Buddha Lance existed. Like, we're unsure, but like Miyamoto Musashi, we know where his grave is, we know where he grew up, we know which castle he served, etc., etc., etc. Especially out in Asia, where a lot of things are more oral tradition than written tradition.
All right.
I mean, also, I guess
those are some good answers.
Oda is always, I would say, is close behind as well.
Okay, another good answer.
The Fool of Owari, who almost went to unite Japan.
Almost.
Got backstabbed like a dozen times and still always get on top.
One of my favorite factions to play in Total War.
Oh, it's so fun when you play Oda because like your starting position usually is bad, but
Yeah, and
when
you start as a vassal too,
and
but
once
then
you start getting moving, like get the ball rolling, it just becomes like a landslide.
all right. Uh, who are your heroes in real life?
My father.
Okay. Yep.
Um, I really do admire my grandfather. He's just turned 88 today, and like
What?
the man is amazing. He still golfs. He still bowls. He works out in the garden with me. He smokes cigars like 3, 4 times a week. Drinks a glass of wine every day, and just does not seem like the 80-year-old man. Moves better than people 20 or 30 years younger than him.
Probably moves better than I do. But yes, you give your grandfather a Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
A Merry birthday from us. You may not know who I am, but we were this close.
And then I would say my cousin, who has been in the military, in the army closer to 20 years.
Wow.
He's
All right.
I think 16 now. I think he just resigned to do 4 more.
Well,
And
good for him.
because of the army, he's been to Kuwait, Qatar, Germany. He's been to quite a few countries.
All right. Some good heroes.
Yeah, he's actually one of the reasons for one of my favorite moments, which was I actually got to try a Cuban cigar because of him.
And what were your thoughts?
Very nice, very nice.
Okay.
I always knew he was smoking cigars, so like it was definitely. I had to definitely kept relighting it and almost got sick.
I wouldn't be very good at this, but all right. We have established this next question, so we can just jump past it.
What was it? Just curiosity.
What are your favorite names?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what is it that you most dislike?
I hate the concept of just how to put this. I hate the idea that if we are to expect like people to change or grow or become better, and but we just make it in a way that they can't recover. Like I forget what the term is when they people cancel culture. Like we'll cancel culture someone, and then try to expect them to change or grow, but don't give them a chance to. Like I get understand like hey, make sure they can feel the pain, but people will still hunt them after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen 2 or 3 people I knew like they made a mistake, they grew from it, but people still come at them.
Okay.
I and I think that people pretend like people can grow, like oh yeah like totally like yeah, give them a chance to grow, you know, become a better person, and then we'll never do it. So that's something I do dislike in hate. It's one of the reasons I try to not give out too much personal information.
Mm-hmm. So that way, when Suki's got to go on the lam, you know, we can, you know, rebrand to something. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Totally.
All right. What is your greatest regret?
Hmm.
Mm.
You know what? This will get into. How dark do we want to go for this answer?
I mean, it's your stream. You go to your comfort level.
Trying to swallow a bottle of ibuprofen.
Well, I'm glad that didn't work out. All right. What one event inspired you to do the streaming thing?
Kiryu Coco.
I don't know who that is.
She was a VTuber. She worked with Hololive. She's one, like, if you would ask, like, who's your favorite VTuber, like, that's the top of the list almost. She was Hololive. She was a Dragon VTuber. Fun fact: she actually appeared in the Yakuza games as a NPC because
Okay,
she's
I think I've heard of this person.
she shared this same similar Kiryu's name as the main character of Yakuza. She's now known as Kei-san. But I always loved her streams, and like she actually is the reason why there is an English branch of Hololive, because she made a like application video and made like a news like podcast thing to do, and I was like, this is fun. Like, she's doing anything from video games to just doing it, just chatting, and love it. The other half of the answer is Rooster Teeth. If I'd never gotten into Rooster Teeth, I don't think I would have gotten into like a lot of YouTube or Twitch stuff.
Okay. So this is now a nice impromptu question. What are your thoughts on Rooster Teeth closing?
It's a shame, but
Yep.
it was, so there's a thing that people need to realize: once you go public and become a company that can be bought by others, you sign off a lot of things.
Yeah.
And once they did the first sell, by signing with the company, I knew it was going to be a matter of time. And also, like, a lot of talents left. You know, Ray left. Gavin started focusing on slow-mo guys. A lot of the Funhouse guys, like Bruce left, Lawrence left. People I still watch, you know, Germany ended up leaving. Matt kind of left. My only hope is that Jeff finds something, and is able to like just do what he wants, because he was my favorite, and my two favorites were Gavin and Jeff when it came to Rooster Teeth as a whole. Like, I love Achievement Hunter especially, but those two were the ones that like really stuck out to me. And you know, when so many of the creators left, like Bernie left, Matt ended up leaving. Gus sticked, but he only really did the podcast stuff, and Jeff kind of became the creative director. I just want things to go well for him, because he stuck around the longest. He tried to, you know, fix things, try to do things, try to make Achievement Hunter like that one thing where people can be themselves. And I just hope that with Rooster Teeth closing, he can make a new group again and just play video games and just have fun. Yeah. But I did think the writing was on the wall. Like, I started watching only just Achievement Hunter Let's Play stuff once like a certain thing happened in Ruby, and I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
I stopped watching Ruby after the big mech fight, and I was just like, all right, that's it. They've lost the plot. I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah, slight spoiler: when they brought back a second character and just killed him like in like an episode or two later, I was just so done. I was done. I was like, yep, I'm not watching anymore. That's it.
I don't blame you. I think I know who you're talking about, and I'm like, yep, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's a shame, because Ruby had so much potential.
It did.
And then I stopped watching Red vs. Blue after the chorus arc. No, when they did all the weird experimental stuff.
Yeah,
like, afterwards, I thought that season was pretty fun. But the chorus arc was where I ended it. Like, the final speech from church, and I was just like, all right, I'm done. Like, this is it. This is everything I needed. Why do we need to continue? And then it's because they got bought, and it's now an I.
The chorus arc was so good. So good.
I think it was fine. I don't know if it was like the best arc, but like it was a good time.
It's not my favorite arc, but it was definitely like up there. Like, I was like, the villains were really good.
Yeah. Like, just design wise, and oh god, Locust's voice, just so good.
Locust was so great. I love Locust so much.
And I have a deep nostalgia for the chorus arc, because that is the arc where me and my friends started like watching Red vs. Blue together, instead of just kind of like separately on our own. We would actually like sit around and talk about it and be like, oh, well, what do you think of this episode? Oh, this episode was so cool. I can't wait to get home to finish this episode so we can talk about it. It's just like, oh, it's so fun. I still have my Felix shirt upstairs.
Oh, really?
And then and then cousin Matt got the Locust shirt, I have stolen it from him, and now I have both of them. But
I still have my like Ruby shirt, and like I still have my Ruby poster as well as my Red vs. Blue stuff. Like,
did you ever watch X-Ray and Vav?
of course.
Okay, okay. I'm just curious. I don't know if I still have my Vav shirt, but I do have a picture of me wearing it back in the day.
I love that shit. It was just they were a good duo.
So silly.
Okay. I still go back in time where every now and then to watch the video where it was like one RTXs where both they dressed up as their characters and like ran through the crowds like high-fiving people. Like I still get like a smile from that.
Okay, when you first started out, were you embarrassed to tell people what you did?
Not embarrassed, but worried.
Okay.
So this is going to be like Suki real life.
How long after? All right, hold on. I have one quick question before we start into this one. How long after you started doing this did you tell me about it?
Tell you about it?
Like that you were doing this thing?
Oh, I mentioned it offhand. I mentioned it offhand 2 or 3 times to Friday group. I think people didn't catch on to it until much later.
That's fair. That's fair. There are a few things that I just don't catch on to. And
for months it was just me and Lori playing games. Like I would play Tales of Berseria, and just me and her would chat via.
I remember the Berseria days.
Or like Metal Gear Solid, Phantom Pain. Like there was a time period where I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna get people to watch me, so this is a way for me and Lori to chat while I play a game.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But
so the other story you were telling me.
So I was part of a real life campaign, as you know, and it drew
I remember
a bitter blood, and I not
hopefully
recently,
not literal blood. You've drawn enough of that.
At one point, I even point out like much later on where each of us had different jobs, and one of my jobs was to do the Instagram, and I had so many ideas like, hey, take a picture of the the dice, making posts, retweeting stuff like on Instagram, like reposting, like things like that, interacting with other groups or people, posting like, hey, what is your favorite, character class, stuff like that. And the person who was in charge of our social media overall was very much like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You need to make yourself look professional, not friendly. And I was like, okay. And
okay.
I look back at it and I'm like, I can see all the things where we went wrong. Also, hello, no, too. And like now I'm like, yeah, we did not like advertise ourselves as, and we did not find groups or people and became friends with them. Because that's honestly a way to get started. Is that if you find people you're friends with, you're probably more likely to watch each other's content. And we didn't do anything, and that's why no one ever really showed up other than the people that we knew us personally before we started. I remember one time where we had like 4 viewers, and it was 4 people I talked to. Like, yeah, I'm streaming tonight.
Yep.
And hell, most of them stopped watching after a certain incident where I was promised my favorite won't be used against me, and then they proceed to say, well, I can always ask forgiveness later.
It was like the first episode.
Yeah, I was not happy, but once that campaign started and I started streaming personally, I was afraid to tell them, because 1, they might say like, how dare you? 2, they might be jealous. I'm like, I don't want to fight over this. So I was like, I didn't tell a lot of people, and my family are not really tech savvy. I think my siblings know I stream. I think only my youngest brother knows really about it. He's actually in the server.
Yes, I'm aware. He didn't sign your card. I tried.
Fun fact: I teased them because they most of my siblings didn't like tell me happy birthday until like later that night or the day after, and so I've been teasing them endlessly about it. Like, why should I get you guys a birthday gift now? But I was not I was a bit nervous to like tell people I knew because I was afraid the whole live stream campaign would cause further rift. If I was doing much better than that live stream campaign did.
Which I think you are. But
yeah, because I actually had people watching.
Oh, sick burn, dude.
Yeah.
I think I think
Seeing
part of the struggle for that thing was also just like sitting down and watching a group of people play D&D for 4 hours every week it's draining.
Yep. Watching that campaign, seeing where that stuff went streaming wise, helped me learn how to do Twitch and
Yeah,
Twitter.
and you do a great job. All right. We kind of answered this question, but who's your favorite YouTuber, VTuber, streamer, Twitch person? It doesn't matter. Content creator, whatever you want to call them, and why?
I'll say Kiryu Kogo, of course. I explained why.
Yep. Yep.
Of course, I mean, if I've done a collab with them, I love them. No, like
Fair.
I will always. I've said this a million times already, but like, I 100% say the reason I played Omori was because of Crown Zero, because I was warned about the content, so I was like, I'm never gonna play this. Not even like personally, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll never do this. And Crown Zero's absolutely the reason like I played Omori, and I hold so much credit to him, and he makes the game so much more enjoyable too. Instead of just doing it by myself, providing voices, us just chatting about it, our theorizing. We're starting a route where neither of us know anything about it.
Oh, okay. That's exciting.
Um,
I must confess, I have not been watching the Amori streams. I tune in and lurk, but I've lost the plot like
it's a very
after like
confusing plot.
after like the third stream, and I was like, I will not be able to keep up, unfortunately.
I getcha.
So, but I like to stop in when I can.
One of my favorite streams of all time was the Coffee Talks with Sakura-san.
Oh yeah, those were always really fun. I was very happy to be able to stop in and watch those as well because that was a fun game.
Yeah, it's to me it's one of the perfect visual novels. It does everything it needs to, and love it. Folly, I will always have a deep appreciation for, and she might think I'm joking at times, but I hold a deep admiring of her, and when you hear like who you like, the people that you like look up to in the community, she's actually one of them.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Like one of the people that you look up to in the community, she's one of them. Folly.
All right.
I'm always going to say like my best friend in the community is always going to be Val. We started around the same time. We went through ups and downs in different collabs with other people. At one point, we both joked that we're usually the others' go-to when it comes to a collab, and we need someone to fill a spot.
Yeah. I like Val. We don't chat, but I had a fun awkward interaction when I was asking her to sign your birthday card.
Dude, go on. I want to hear about this now.
So I didn't know that the Altera Vita crew disbanded.
Oh.
Okay. I don't keep up. I never kept up to date on them. I just kind of bounced off of them at times. It's whatever. But so I was just like, hey Val, can you pass this on to all the other Altera Vita people? And she's like, so they broke up, and I was like, oh no, now I feel awkward. And I already felt awkward about sending this message anyway.
She did sign it.
She did, yes. It was very kind of her. But it's so funny.
But like I always have it. I always admire her as well. Great voice actor, just great person. We every time I do a game for her, there's Monster Prom, Hustle Cat, Jackbox. We always have a great time. Our humor gets very unhinged at times.
Sometimes. I remember Hustle Cat. Hustle Cat was a fun time.
Hustle Cat was such a fun time.
You know what the worst part is?
What?
I was waiting for the Graves route for so long, and I something came up and I missed it.
That's great.
Yes, thank you everybody for telling me I did great work. I did such good work that I was told that I was a bot. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times by Discord.
Beautiful.
Oh, it was amazing.
But I was like, I love doing Clan Ed with Peacock. Um, I'm enjoying doing Valhalla with Vaughn. You know, I'm amazed because when I first did Valhalla, I was able to do like 3 days on average of a stream, and we're lucky if we do one day because we just go off tangent. That's a trio of us.
That's fair. I guess it's the power of people talking to one another.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember watching Valhalla way back when you first were like starting. I didn't. I watching again. I'm like, I don't remember any of this nonsense. But yes, Vaughn is super cool, and yeah, agreed entirely.
David as well is another one that I really enjoy. Just Lethal Company is very well, and I think he gives me too much praise. Like there's times where he's like, "Oh yeah, Suki saves has saved us runs before," and I'm like, "Don't give me that much credit."
I mean, you have, so like, I can see where the credit's coming from. Yeah, he sits there. He tells me that like me and Squirrel are like the best employees, and I'm like, I am nowhere near compared to Squirrel. That man he's a gaming legend. I appreciate you, David, but like at the same time, I know that I'm not that great.
There was a time before where like we were playing like me and Squirrel were the only survivors, and David was just like, "Yeah, I can just leave it to these two."
Yeah, he does. He says that about me and Squirrel too, and I'm like, I mean, I will do my best. I mean, it's been a while. I'm a little rusty, but I have gotten pretty decent at the game. Not to brag or anything.
I will love to see it. You need to stream Lethal Company sometime soon.
I don't stream it. I probably will never. But I do post my clips sometimes. I'll send you a link.
Okay. But of course I love everyone that's like in Fluffy server. I was amazed at Karu made my favorite Suki fan art of all time.
Oh, that stuff is so good.
Mm-hmm. I was amazed like when like Cloud did the like costume party. I was amazed that like she like added me as one of the people. And I was like, you didn't have to do that, and she's like, yeah, you're part of this. It just made my heart so warm. I love being invited to like the casting couch that Not Too and Folly does. Like, it makes me feel very welcome. Some other people I watch that are not part of the community I usually stream with is Ray PattyHayesJr, also known as Brown Man. I love him. He's a gaming legend. Like, I don't think people realize like before like a lot like some of these big names in gaming, like Ray was the guy that was 100% in games. I think for a while like he had the high score when it came to the gamer score. Like he was the Xbox guy when it came to games. Another two I love, especially if you're in like horror, like when it comes to ARGs, analog horrors, deep dive videos, where it be cryptid or real life events. Winnie Goon, I love. Winnie Goon does anything from like real life serial killers to like iceberg videos to deep diving some materials. Same thing with Nightmind. Nightmind actually hosts events where he helps like new content creators make content, and some of like the ARGs or analog horrors that got big recently is because they got advice and help from Nightmind. What is going on? Are you guys in chat?
Babby gave birth to a baby boy.
Do you have that thing where it plays a clip of somebody? Shut them up. Okay. Something's gonna be happening in a moment.
I can see that.
I don't know.
Sorry, Crowns asked me if I was going to be joining something on Saturday, and
let's name a mistake.
He apologized for promoting himself, and it's like, wait a minute.
I
hope you don't mind.
I don't mind. I heard Maya's unhinged laugh.
Oh, was that the mistake, child?
Mm-hmm.
Or I didn't think you'd get this far. Yeah, I just think. Sorry, it's so funny. Okay, please continue.
Lost my train of thought there, but yes, Winnie Goon, Nightmind, love their horror content. I shared it to Maya before of like there was like a iceberg of like cryptids, of like the most known cryptids at the top of the iceberg to like very very obscure ones at the bottom. Hell, when I was in Grenwick, I sent a picture of the sign of the Grenwick Witch to Maya because I'm like, oh, this might be something you might enjoy.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I was like, it took me a second.
I was giving you apologies to like have the gears in your brain turn a bit.
Yep. No, don't worry. I got there. I know exactly what you're talking about now. Okay.
Some other YouTube people I watch because I love watching like indie horror games. Manly Badass Hero is one. 64 Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, someone I watched very recently who, if you want to know like anything about like the tech, like the video game industry, the computing stuff like that. Vaughn, you should realize this by now. I know like anything that comes to like anything of like horror genre. You should know this by now. They're called Pirate Software. His name is Four. He talks a lot about like the video game industry, like why things are like they are. He was a I believe he was an offensive hacker. Pretty much he was hired to do jobs like hack servers, hack employee stuff to get information, and he will actually like show like, hey, this is what stuff you can do to better protect yourself. And he's just a really nice guy. Like at one time he's like, yeah, I'm never gonna do any type of promoting like like Ray-Bans or anything like that. He's like, if I don't use it, I'm not gonna promote it.
Yeah, no, that's a nice style of integrity. I like that.
And something he does a lot is for his Twitch is like, let's say he gets like $1,000 in Twitch from like a subs, he will take that 1,000 and give that back out to the community. So like he'll give out that $1,000 to like community subs so people can stay sub without having to spend money.
Interesting. Okay.
He's just a really nice guy, and he's like, if you want to know something about the gaming industry, if you want to know about anything that has to do with putting games together, I can't think of the word, not computing, but like the nitty gritty, like C++. What is it? I'm blanking on the word.
Like coding.
Like if you want to know a lot about coding, he's the person to do it. Like his, if people ever watched South Park and saw the World of Warcraft guy, that was actually based off his father, who actually helped to make that character.
Oh my goodness!
Like him and his father know so much when it comes to like Blizzard, things like that, like how the gaming industry works. He's just a really great guy to watch.
Okay.
And he'll play video games, and he'll give input of like, what's this? And he's actually making a game too that I'm eventually going to play which is called Heartbound, which is a very like in-depth RPG that like takes notice of how you do things.
That name sounds familiar.
You probably have like seen stuff of him. I know he sort of got big in like the last year or two.
Okay.
But he's like the person I watched recently the most, like when it comes to like YouTube shorts. If I can't catch like a long like 2-hour video, I'll be like, what's his latest shorts? And then
right.
The last person I watch is
Don't you say. Sorry, continue, please.
The Kill Count, Dead Meat. Dead Meat is a channel that they do horror.
Dead Meat. I know what Dead Meat is.
Okay.
Cousin Matt watches that because he doesn't have the stomach for horror, so he watches that instead because it, he still is fascinated by it, but like he can't handle it. Not to air out his dirty laundry or anything like that, but so he watches Dead Meat and he gets the synopsis and all that good stuff and like the breakdowns and stuff, and he loves that. He loves that channel. I know. Yep.
How's it feel to know someone who can't stomach it and someone who's like so into it?
Well, it's fun because I'm like somewhere in the middle, right? And like Jesus loves horror too, so it's fun to hang out. Like he introduced me to that one movie. I think you showed up like partway through. It was the woman who eventually unhinged her jaw like a snake.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. So good.
That movie was fantastic. There was another movie I wanted to watch with you guys. I think I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's on the list of like, hey, I should watch these movies at some point with people. But
yeah, I love Demi. Demi helps me pick out like new horror movies that I'm sure about because he does the kill counts in like a funny way. So like I watch the kill counts religiously because
Okay.
he's a huge fan of horror as well, and so like if he like goes into the movie, he's like, guys, this is terrible, and not even like a hey, that's funny terrible. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay away from this because he's very honest about like certain stuff. Like he loves old school horror. He loves new
Okay.
stuff that like kind of like pushes of like what can be a movie or not, like Skinner
Skinamarink?
Skinamarink, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't watch that one.
It's
Did my wife watch it? I think she did.
it's good if you're familiar with analog horror.
Okay.
It's a movie that's supposed to make you feel tense, really.
Okay. Did you ever watch The Host?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What were your thoughts?
When did that come out?
2020. Or maybe 2021. I don't know. It was
Because I know
during...
there was the you don't mean like the 2013 one. You mean like the horror,
not the one by Bong Joon-ho. No.
Because that's what my mind went first. I was like,
that one is. I also really like that one. That one's really fun. But no, I'm sorry. I meant just because you mentioned Skinamarink and I was like, it got my mind. I was like TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, Zoom. Yeah.
Yes, Zoom. It's okay. There's only like one or two movies that I really like the video essence of the movie.
Okay.
I as much as bad they are, I love the Wreck movies.
Wreck movies. Oh yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
they're bad, but they're also so good at the same time.
Did you watch the VHS movies?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So another fun one way back when it first came out, Grave Encounters. Terrified my friends. It was so good.
The horror movie I used to recommend to friends, like if you want to see like just a terrible, stupid horror movie, it's Thanksgiving.
I don't like that movie. I have watched that
So
movie. I don't
bad.
like that movie. It's so
terrible.
bad.
A killer turkey that looks at the camera and cracks one-liners just the whole time.
Yeah, it was so silly.
It was like made on a budget of like $100, and you can tell.
I believe it. They get one turkey mask and call it a day.
Yep. But
oh my goodness.
I see. I think a lot of found footage movies are like ones where it's like, because the host has done like kind of like that, like group call. It's just not usually done right.
So I just there was a fun novelty to it, and the fact that the call only lasted, or the movie only lasted 45 minutes, which was the runtime of a free Zoom session, was it was just beautiful to me. I thought that was just so it was interesting in a fun way. It was like it was a creative little limitation that they had to work around. So it was neat. It also scared my wife because she's also a bit of a scaredy cat.
I got stuff.
She's sleeping right now, but love you.
That's why one of the things I like, analog horror can be such a hit or miss, because usually it's like VHS tapes, it's just live call videos, it's done from like the Five Nights at Freddy's style of like you're looking at a security camera, like you for every like Greylock, you get the painter. And I watched actually a video recently with Winnie Goon where he compared the two because they came around the same time, about the same amount of videos, similar content in a way, and you could, like, the painter whole concept was, hey, there's a serial killer who kills people and he makes a painting about how he thinks they look like, right? Introduce characters, they get killed by the painter, here's the paintings, end episode. And like after you saw the second and third, it becomes like, this is no longer scary. Versus something like Greylock, which paints up this whole idea of like, you see like one of my favorite videos. Pretty much it was like a security tape. The character in the video is like someone who, like, he gets an alert about like a security video, and he's like at this headquarters that he can check the security video, and he's like, okay. So he like looks at it, and he doesn't see anything, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna call the lady anyway. Like, hey, just let you know, we got movement at one of your cameras. I don't see anything, but I'm gonna send a cop anyway because it's our job. And she's like, hey, don't send a cop. she works at like a dog daycare type thing. She's like, don't do that. You know, I gotta work in the morning. If you send a cop, it's gonna take an hour. If I fall back asleep, I'm not gonna get enough sleep. She's like, I'll go check it out myself. And she like goes in. He's like trying to go back to the tapes and sees as she gets into the building, she sees movement. Finally, from the like a few minutes ago on the camera. And it's just that tense moment of like, he's like, you need to get out there now. You need to get out there now. And she's like, what do you mean? I see the dogs here. They're fine. And it's like, yes, like, yeah, the dogs see you and they're not making movement. They're not making noise. Something's wrong. And it's just that moment tense where you don't know what's going to happen. Even though you see the security cameras from his point of view.
What is this, Greylock?
Greylock. It's so good. It's probably like the peak of AR, like analog horror.
All right. The one of the things that got me into analog horror is a YouTube series. It was Marble Hornets.
Oh god, that's like Slenderman, like before it became like huge.
Yeah, that was I got really into the Marble Hornets stuff. It was really good. Just there was something viscerally terrifying sitting in my room at 2 a.m. Watching, I don't even remember his name. I think his name is like Nick or something, sleeping. And then in one frame, it's just him. And then the next frame, that fucking masked dude shows up over top of him. I'm like, holy fuck, I threw my computer.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was just so good.
I am a fan of like different analog horrors because there's just something like, it feels very like this can happen to you. Gemini Entertainment, I love Gemini Entertainment, even when as far as making a game that hides information and lore about the series. And I was like, that's amazing. You literally made a small game with multiple endings and hidden secrets of just to give you more lore about the world. I'm like, that's like commitment. And they even made a video, like a 2-minute video, like, hey, you know, this is a game that was made that's out in stores. And I'm like, how do you go this far? What is it? You know, Walton Files is a great one. Walton Files is like Five Nights at Freddy can be scary in its own way if you don't know it, but Walton Files is like a legitimately more scary version of it. And it's done in a cartoon style that just makes it even more terrifying. I'm trying to think of others. Recently, the Boiled One has been pretty good. That's like a really new one that I'm like very interested in. Just because the character they created looks like Uncanny Valley like. There's a Godzilla one that's out that's been pretty good. That's actually done by someone who's like 17 years old. That I was like pretty amazed by that. Like, oh my god, like a kid made this and looks really good.
I like passion projects like that. Those give me inspiration in life.
Chippy Chippa is a really good one. Chippy Chippa was pretty much the whole concept. It was like, hey, what if we made this diner and the mascot can possess people? White Second Educations is funny but scary.
Not to cut you off or anything like that, but I'm gonna keep us moving a little bit.
Okay, no problem.
All right. So, the last question was, who is your favorite YouTuber and why? And then we got a nice recommendation list of horror stuff, which I appreciate. Now, who is one other personality that has influenced you the most?
It's probably like Kiryu Coco. Like, I wouldn't be doing a VTuber if it was not for her. I would just be doing a no video or anything, just gameplay.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I understand. All right, coming to the home stretch.
Oh my!
What is your motto?
I need to pronounce this correctly.
If you say be gay and do crime, I'm turning the stream off. We're raiding out.
It's probably I'm gonna butcher this, but it's also the thing I want on my tombstone.
Okay.
Pariet emiki comida finita est.
All right. And for us lay people, I would like a translation.
The translation is applaud, my friends, the comedy is over. The silence.
Okay. All right.
You got some thoughts about that?
No, nothing at all. Listen, it's gonna be your tombstone, you know. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so lastly, we're gonna throw some community questions at you.
Okay.
If anybody in the chat wants to throw a couple of community questions, by all means. What is your favorite animal that is not a rabbit or a fox?
Ooh,
This is a collaborative question between Jesus and Lori.
Probably a pug. Till I had a rabbit, a pug was my favorite pet.
A pug, okay.
A faceling a trucker can love.
It's very true. This one is from Lori. Are you on the list?
Am I on the list?
Yeah, the list. Are you on it?
No, but I lost the game.
That's it. We're rating. I'm joking. All right. Another lovely one from Lori. Lori had some of my favorite questions. Should you put tissues in the trash or the recycling?
Trash. So people don't realize so for me, I had a trash can for trash. I use a green bin for paper and boxes, and then the recycling. But the bags, the paper stuff, goes with the trash, so it should go with the trash.
Yep, makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm with you. I just, that's just the question she asked. All right, final question, rounding it out from the Great Peacock. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I used to always tell whenever I get asked that question, I always gave the joking one that was, my traumatic event happened at 12 years old, so that my midlife crisis was at 12 years old, so anything past 24 is living on borrowed time.
Mm-hmm. But now that you've grown a little more and you are, who you are, what do you got?
See, I
watched the head of your model just go face first onto the ground.
I always get really a bit bummed thinking about this answer because the situation I live in is a hospice situation where I take care of people. So if it were to suddenly change in the next 5 years, would mean someone has passed away.
I understand.
So I always get very sad thinking about that. Because I was the one chosen to do all this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say worst comes to worst. It probably moved out. I kind of want to tease May a bit and just say we finally met by that point. Because one of my favorite jokes is I've met most of her friends before meeting her. I don't know. Maybe. I would like to see myself moved in, settled in.
Okay. All right. I like that.
I've always been with a family member at some point. That finally be on my own would be nice.
Living on your own is a very special thing.
Mm-hmm. I would also love to see myself being completely fluent in Japanese.
Okay.
Where I can speak as well as English. I would love to either be able to just stream like like Sea Dog and just do like 8 hours a day. Like,
Yep.
that's my job.
Oh
is
gosh,
streaming.
you're crazy.
If not that, maybe run my own agency.
All right. All right. I got one more.
You got one more? Okay.
I got one more. Yeah. All right. So you started this espresso hour some time ago. If I were better prepared, I would have actually figured out how long ago it was.
Mm-hmm.
What was your inspiration to do this? And are you happy with the results?
This might be the most Suki thing ever, but it was because of a bet.
Interesting. Okay.
Pretty much, whatever you go, Suki. So pretty much what happened was, I called myself a host, and I based that off of Orin Host Club, which is, by the way, one of the greatest animes to ever watch. And I was like, okay, yeah, like a host, like in Japan, because there's host clubs, Pretty much what it is, you go to a host club, a pretty boy talks to you, you drink something with them, they compliment you endlessly, you feel good, right? I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I've watched the show.
yeah. And people are like, oh, you mean like a TV host? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, you should host your own show. You're very good with people, Suki. And I'm like, you know what? Bet. So at the time, because this was like, below 50 viewer, 50 followers and such. Only had like 20 people following me on Twitter. I was like, you know what, Saksu, you want to do the first one? Because I've known Saksu for a very long time. I've known him since right after high school days. So I've known him, gosh, decade now. More than a decade, probably. I was like, hey, you want to do this? And we spent like a few hours talking. And then I watched back that video a few times, and I took what worked, what didn't, and then I started like sitting down and started making like an actual like list of questions. Took sources, like looked at multiple sources of question lists, interviews, and I was like, okay, I got a general idea. Start with the the person itself. Introduction. Give a unique introduction for each person. Talk about their model, their name, where they get that from. Got to technical things like did they make their model, what kind of model it is, etc., etc. Then move into like the VTuber side of things, like what do you stream, stuff like that. Move to the personal questions, and then finally, ending with the question of always, what's your motto.
See, I already bungled it up. All right.
You're fine.
All right. Hold on. Okay. I do have one final question, but if you have more to say, continue.
And then Observer was my first one, and then from there. There was like key milestones, like Alter Vita was the first group I did, because I did like back to back, did questions. I also do research on each person and ask them questions unique to that person. I will actually, usually on average at least, watch 8 hours of content of each person I'm about to interview to make those unique questions.
Did you watch 8 hours of your own content to prepare for this meeting?
No, but I watch 8 hours of your content.
God dang it.
It's easy to find. I asked cousin Matt for some home videos.
Yeah, I bet you did. He doesn't know I stream.
I could tell him.
I've thought about telling him already.
Mm-hmm. There's been times where I'm like, you know what, that group you have, just dropping your link.
All right. So that was part one of the question. Part two is, are you happy with the results?
I am. There's been, of course, like hiccups with, like the Observer one was the first one. I actually went as soon as the session was done, deleted the video and was like, never again.
Yep, I remember that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was one of my first streams here. I think.
There's some I went back and edited and then later just deleted, just because like one, the person gave too much personal information, and as I went to go edit it, they were kicked out of a group, and I was like, I guess I just, because it was one of the videos I did, like 3 people like part of the same group, and I was like, I guess I don't post this now. But
Do you have all your VODs of these?
I have
Maybe
kept,
not all of them.
I have kept every VOD since the end of Tales of Berseria.
Oh, okay.
Usually after posting on YouTube, I delete them though.
So you delete them off your hard drive, but they're all on YouTube.
Yep. If though there's some I do keep on my hard drive if they're like ones that like were really close to me, like the Tales of Berseria ones I keep.
I respect that. Okay. All right. Last question. Final question. I promise last question because I need to head off soon. Can you explain to me the jar?
That was all something that I got roped into because of other people. So Cloud made the idea of like it was Cloud or Fluffy made the idea of like jarring someone, and Quincy was a lewd person, so he was often put in the jar for misbehaving.
That makes sense.
And the jar thing is a whole internet thing that started with I think was My Little Pony.
Fascinating. I'm learning so much.
It's an 18+ joke, and so they used to do it because Quinn's lewd, lewd implications.
Gotcha.
And then Karu was also someone who was put into jars, and then once I started befriending them, I got roped into it.
Okay.
As an association as a bunny.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm learning so much.
Have you never seen some of the art redeems, Maya? Like Cloud has a large like Twitter post of like every time there's a new one that someone used to redeem for it, they make one. Everyone that has Jarlaid, you can see the implication of the other artwork of it.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, then I will in future only reference the cage. Got it. Okay. Good. It's been bugging me for a while because I never knew. Any hoodles. I had thought that I would have a clever exit line by this point, but I do not. Do you have a raid target?
You know what? Give me 1 minute to pause and look.
Okay. Absolutely. I will continue to chit chat. When he is not here streaming, you can find the lovely tsukinousagi on YouTube, Twitter, Throne. Yeah, Throne. Absolutely. I have no idea what other things. Don't ask about the Instagram. People do that enough on Telenym, and that's really weird. Oh, hey, Telenym. That's another thing. Yeah. Suki also has a Discord server. If any of you are not in it already, why aren't you in it already? I think the link is broken at the moment, but if all you need but ask via Whisper or something, and we can easily get you that link. Anything else that I have to say? No, probably not. It's been an absolute pleasure being able to do this, hang out, and ask questions to you many, or for you many people. We've been waiting for this for a very long time. And now I'll just sit here and
I got a raid target.
Alright, I'm ready.
Wait, I just need to see if I don't know if the capitalization matters for...
I don't think it does.
Right. Did you give a good goodbye message?
I don't know. We'll see. What? I didn't know he was streaming.
Yeah, he's streaming
Is it Dragon's Dogma? He's streaming what?
League.
Oh. Alright. Well, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do this. I had a lot of fun. You know what? First the podcast, now this. I think I know what I'm up to. I'm gonna be an interview, bro.
You will do excellent.
Yeah, right. All right. But take care. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.
And I'll see you in the next one. Or not.